All right,
When I got
I'm
text,
starting.
I was
I'm
drunk at
starting.
that point.
I'm starting. Are you
Okay,
ready?
All right.
Hey, welcome to the Ryan Got the Bread podcast, which I hate the name, by the way. This episode is going to be amazing. It's going to be for people thinking about being real estate agents, or you just are curious about what real estate agents do. I have Anthony Berry and Ada here, as well as my co-host, Jessica.
Ada Ramirez.
Yes, Ada Ramirez and Jessica Gaddy, and I am Ryan.Fagan, and welcome to the Ryan Got the Bread podcast. So, what's up, guys? How you guys doing?
Hey.
What's up, Brian?
Doing pretty good, right?
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you guys for coming.
So I just want to say Jessica Gaddy made it mandatory after our last episode that we drink alcohol while we were
And you guys will see the difference.
But both of these guests here are newer real estate agents within a year, right? Yeah. And it's a perfect time to talk about this because, like, there's so much disruption. We got COVID going on, and technology in real estate as an agent is always a big thing, and the market's crazier than it's ever been. So I think there's a ton of things to talk about. So let's get into it. The best way to start is one of you guys tell me, give me your background, but also, like, why did you become a real estate agent? Who wants to go first?
You want to go? Oh, you want me? I'll go first. Yeah, so I became a real estate agent just simply because I felt like, number one, once I got into real estate, I don't know what you would call a traditional way of getting into real estate. I kind of just went on Google and was like, how do you become rich and wealthy? Right? So that's how that was like my beginning of my path.
Right.
What did you see? It said
everything
something with real estate.
Yeah,
involved.
everything came back to real estate or investing in the stock market.
It's funny because you're the second person who said that. I think in a previous podcast, was it Wesley Williams? Somebody said they Googled it, and that's,
Think
real
about
estate
that
is
for a
what came up.
second, right? So that I had to wait that long to get that information.
Right,
I'm 29
that's such
years
a great,
old,
yeah.
right? Nobody sat me
Just
down
told
and
you.
explained that to me.
Yeah.
I had to figure it out, and I went on Google. Lack of information, right? So, yeah, so I went on there, and then that's what kind of led me. So at that time, I was like, I didn't really have money like that. Like, as far as, like, the way I wanted to get in, I wanted to invest. So I was like, all right, like, how do you get into investing with no money? So I looked into wholesaling, right? And I remember having a conversation with you a while back about wholesaling. And
I be shitting on wholesale. And
yeah,
I'm like,
for sure. So like that was my first introduction with you because you were one of the first people I seen in this area really into real estate, like actually doing it though.
Right.
Like a lot of people say that they're in the real estate and that,
Well, most
they've
people
done this.
take a wholesaling class and say that they're an investor when they don't.
Exactly.
They're
What's
Right.
going on?
Right. So that was the beginning of my path, right? So then the next thing I was working at that time. I was still working my regular job.
What were you doing?
I was washing trucks
Okay.
at Blue Beacon.
Okay.
In Bordentown. I was there for a while. Like, I was there for a while. It was pretty much like my main focus, like my career. Like, so when I was doing that, that's when I started getting into like learning about real estate, and I was like, all right, like I want to invest. So I started learning about wholesaling, and then I just ran into a lot of people that were not doing the work. Like because when you have the internet and Instagram and YouTube,
It's easy to look some kind of way.
Yeah,
Oh,
and-
absolutely.
right? So exactly. So then I'm like, okay, you need to get in from the ground up. Like, let's see if you like. That's when I was like, all right, maybe I can get my license, and that way I can make money, build capital, and then get into investing the right way. Not saying that wholesaling is the wrong way because I know people that are actually doing the work.
If you really do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
I mean, see, that's the thing. Like, I see all these Forex people right now, and and it's hard because I be shitting on it, but it's not that Forex is bad. It's that however these people are structuring that stuff is some nonsense.
Yeah,
Same thing
right.
with wholesaling. Like, there's all these classes and all this get rich quick. it's a real thing. Like, you can wholesale houses if you can market and find people who need to,
Right.
sell their house as fast and as easy as possible. You can wholesale. Now, I would say you're basically acting as an agent, and you probably should just get your license and just do it that way.
Right.
But it's
you have
something
a lot
that you can
more.
do.
You have a lot more resources. When you
It's
do it.
better.
And the thing about it was, I pretty much, I wanted to build capital, but I also wanted to help people too.
Yeah.
Like once I really was like, wow, like we have a lack of information in our community.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like,
We talk
And
about that
I
every
was-
episode.
Yes.
I was
Yeah.
giving away information, and I don't even want to say giving away, but as I was learning things, I was posting.
Sharing it,
So
right.
like, it's not even like I was, and this right. What I'm speaking on is this is like 2.5, 3 years ago.
Right.
So I was posting things and not even actually doing the business, but I thought the information was so valuable. I was like,
yeah.
yo, like I just want people to know.
Right.
Right.
So
And it'd be like some 101 stuff that seems
Yeah.
probably trivial to you now
Exactly.
that like is obvious, but people
Exactly.
don't know even the obvious stuff.
Yeah.
And I would say the biggest thing I got from wholesaling was learning to network and like really actually going to networking meetings and meeting people. Because I actually went and found properties, put stuff under contract, actually talked with buyers, never closed the deal. So
Right, it's hard.
I actually, it's very difficult. You got to be constantly on it all day. So that was like my brief stint in that. And then once I really got into real estate, my main reason was just the flexibility of freedom, like controlling my own time. Like that was the biggest thing for me.
So you're doing it full time?
Yeah, and that was due to COVID. Because at that time I was still at the truck wash, and
Okay.
I was at pretty much as high as I could go for where I was at.
Right.
And the only other alternative was for me to move across the country. And I had opportunity to go, but I just had my daughter.
Right.
So at that time I was like, I'm not. This is where me and my wife is from. We have our parents, family, friends. So we wanted that extra support. So,
Right.
I was like, my family's always going to come first, period. So at that time, I was like, all right. So once I got my license and I actually got under Keller Williams, what did I do after that? I went down to part-time. So I talked to my wife. We had a conversation about money, things like that. And then we found it in our budget to where I could go down to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I could focus on real estate.
Right.
So we were playing like the long game, like, as far as like, shout out to one of my guys, we were playing the long game. Like, all right, we'll put the work in now. And she works in New York. So
man,
at that time. So, we were juggling a lot, like working 2 jobs, new baby. She's working in Manhattan. I'm just coming into real estate.
Yeah.
So
And you have no income when you start real estate.
Yeah.
I try to tell
Yeah.
people
That
that.
would be my
Exactly.
question. Like,
exactly. So
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all money out.
Oh, yes.
Money out.
yeah,
Yep.
exactly. So at that time we were like, we just had to really live frugal. Like couldn't do vacations, just couldn't do anything that we really like were accustomed to doing, being young and
Right.
coming out of our mid-20s. Like money wasn't really a thing that we thought about at that
Yeah.
time. So like once you start a family, those things start to change. Especially when I came into that information, I would say like 3 years ago when I really started focusing, and I'm like, yeah, I can't work a regular 9 to 5 forever. Because I don't want to miss when my daughter has dance class, or if she's playing a sport, or she wants to do whatever. I want to be able to.
Yeah, you don't want to
Can't
ask
take
your
off
boss,
work.
can I have
can't.
off?
No, you
Yeah.
can't.
Can I have the day, can I have the day
request
off?
denied.
Yeah, you
Like,
know
no,
what I
I'm
mean.
still
So
going.
some people,
Yeah.
and don't get me wrong, like if that's what you want to do, then do it.
That's for you. If
Yeah.
it works for you,
Yeah.
it works
Exactly.
for you. Yeah.
I'll never tell anybody not
If
to
the
work.
I'm
9
so
to
big
5
on
works
that.
for you,
Correct.
Yeah, then
It just doesn't work for me either.
no, it doesn't work for me, and I'm in it.
You see?
Right.
Yeah.
So
We're gonna talk
that was my main reason of getting into it. Learning the information, and once I learned that, I was like, I need to give this information to my people, like that don't know it. And then my other why was controlling my time for my family.
Right.
Right.
And that was the biggest things for me.
Right,
Got me
right.
really into real
For
estate.
sure. Time is great.
Yeah, time is great.
So Ada,
Hi, Ryan.
Hi.
What's going on?
Good. So, what's your story? Why'd you decide to jump in the river of real estate?
Yeah, because you took your test before I did, right?
Yeah, I took
Oh,
my
okay.
test.
Yeah,
I
she
took my
told me.
test.
Yeah.
Wow, back.
Yeah, I took a test a while back.
Mm-hmm.
So the way I started was something similar. I'm like, I need my time back, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was working 2 jobs, full-time and part-time job. And I'm like, how can I maximize my time with little effort, right? And I put little effort in quotes because we
already know.
real estate is not little effort.
Yeah, far from it.
At all.
Mhm.
But I needed my time back. Like,
Right.
I didn't want to have to go, do the rat race from one job to the other, making $10 an hour part-time and only bringing home $100 every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. They talk about multiple, incomes, multiple revenue streams, right? And that's like the biggest thing. What am I good at that I can bring in multiple streams of revenue?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in the banking industry, and I've been in the banking industry for well over a decade now. And I'm like, okay, so I'm in banking. How can I use this to maximize the information that I can A, put out there, and B, the information that I can consume and put it out and help people at the same time. So one day I was at my day job, my banking job, and I came across a check, and I'm like, the check was for like $3,000. It was like, whoa, right? And I was like, what are they doing? I'm like, right? And I'm like, and mind you, I've been in banking for a long time, so it's not like I haven't seen these checks before,
Right?
But it's like almost like I came across a aha moment, and I'm like, this check is for $3,000. I make less than that in 1 year, and this person made
your
this
part-time.
right with my
Yeah.
part-time, and this person just made this in one sale of a house.
Right.
So I started looking into it, and you network, and people that know people, and I came across Ryan's page, and
He's always like the poster child. For
Yo,
everything.
here-
I'm telling you, right?
no, and I
mean-
really
You influence a lot of
enjoyed, and I
people.
think I told you this when
That's
we met.
telling.
And
Yeah,
I,
exactly.
and I'm
He
like,
don't believe it.
I
I'm
really enjoyed.
uncomfortable.
No, I really enjoyed the financial education aspect of it, right? And I'm like,
I used to be in Ryan's DMs like, hey, can you look at this
hey,
contract for me?
right.
When I was wholesaling.
Oh, really?
He'd be like, yeah, man, send it over. He would do it. He would do it. He would do it.
It's commendable, yeah. All right, that's enough attention.
Right.
Being all
like-
awkward
he's
now.
like-
Yeah.
I feel
Well,
Oh my God, stop talking about it.
so
Like,
not
stop
to,
talking about it
not,
right now,
not to
please.
break up your, because I wanted to let you go, but I don't know. I like helping people, I guess.
Yeah. Right.
yeah.
That's why we're doing this whole podcast.
I mean,
Right.
that's why we're in real estate.
Right.
Yeah. You
have to.
Ultimately.
Yeah, you
We
have
all
to-
have that goal.
You're
Right.
gonna run into so many. Go ahead.
right?
Yeah. No, I'm
But-
listening.
Yeah, we're gonna run into so many problems. Like you have to enjoy actually doing the job.
And helping people.
Problems.
Right.
Problems.
On problem.
We'll get to these COVID problems because
Yeah.
it almost made me want to quit
Jump
for the year.
ship. Yeah.
So, but yeah, like everybody, if anybody hits me up, I always say yes, basically. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you're one of the people that pursued like continuously. That's why
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shoot, because a lot a lot of times people hit me up and they're,
Yeah.
they're.
Yeah, because you thought I was playing at first. Well,
No,
becoming a
I've been
realtor.
trying to recruit you for like.
No, because at first
for
I was
like
like,
2
Ryan,
years.
like I'm taking my test on blah blah blah. He was
Right.
like, okay, yeah,
whatever.
Did I?
Right.
I
You was
did
kind of
that?
like, you was pushing me off a little bit.
I was the one telling you should be an agent.
I know, but then I guess I wasn't moving fast enough. You've been telling me this for years, though.
I mean,
So
I got ADD, like not really, but like I forget
Yeah,
what I
like-
said.
I know you did it this
I
morning.
forget.
Yeah.
Oh,
Tell the people how you forgot.
Just text me something about her client and what was going on, and
And that was what 8 o'clock, 9
at
o'clock.
8, 9 o'clock in the morning today,
Yeah.
and then at
12.
12, I'm like, hey, are you up?
I'm like, we just talked. Like a few hours.
Like
I
we had a
woke up,
conversation.
A
Like,
whole conversation. Like you responded back to me. Like what's
Yeah.
going on?
you good?
I can't-
right. His
You
brain
good?
is all over the place.
Brain fog.
Here's how I
Yeah.
explain it. I like my brain deletes things like to keep it
Insane.
fresh. So
Things
like
that are not important. You
if
just-
something's just if it's deemed not that important, like I don't
You
need to
delete
remember
irrelevant
it. I delete
information.
it
Yeah.
instantly.
Absolutely.
Like I
Yeah.
can't remember number. Like if I analyze a property, like a real estate investment property, if it's not a deal, I will not remember the numbers or the address or anything about it. I'll just be like, it wasn't a deal. And then they'll be like, why? I'll be like, I don't remember. Or even while we're in a project, I will forget the numbers because it's irrelevant once I'm into it. Right. So once I buy it, those variables don't matter. It's just like, do it the best we can do it. And that's also to like protect myself because if we go over budget, I'll be freaking out.
Yeah, you're going to pretty much redo everything anyway.
Yeah. So
your properties.
That's one of our strategies is that to eliminate some risk, just buy the worst property and factor in every repair possible.
Right.
There you go.
So that's keeps it safe.
Yes. Ada, you were going on about your
Sorry.
story. Sorry about that.
Oh, no, you're fine.
Well, no,
That's the perk of the podcast.
Of
right?
course.
You just have to let it flow.
Yeah, just go ahead.
No, so the shorter version of the story.
Okay.
you can go with the long version. People like
it's
people really.
entertaining.
I really am excited about this episode.
Okay.
Because I think that a lot of people, and we got to debunk a lot of the real estate's easy myths for the people.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
This video is, or this podcast is all about people thinking about jumping in real estate.
Okay.
Or like if you're using an agent, maybe you might understand like some of the things about it. So go the long way.
Go the long way?
Because
Okay.
because it's a tough decision. Like,
absolutely.
you know, because we're looking to recruit some full
I
time.
might still be in the red.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
and
If you really are accounting for everything, like we were talking about before we
I think I'm in the red.
turned on,
And
like really.
so far.
If you account for everything that, you know.
Right.
Gas, mileage,
Yeah,
like
and people
marketing.
think like when you start, you know, entrepreneurship or you start your own business, that you're gonna make money right away.
Yeah,
Absolutely
absolutely
not.
not.
it's
No.
the long game.
Exactly.
And real estate is the ultimate long game.
Oh, absolutely.
And as like investments or even as an agent, because if you notice, most of the agents are old. And the thing is, it's a snowball. So like it's not one of the hardest things to start because you have no contacts, you have nothing.
Yeah.
And so like now I've been in for 6 years, but I've only been full time like 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
And so like every year is increasing because I'm getting more referrals from
Right.
people who
Right.
I've worked with before.
Right.
And obviously if you're just starting, you don't have anybody who you
Exactly.
closed
Right.
before. And so if you keep having good experiences with clients over the years, you're going to get more people. They tell people,
Right.
boom, boom. Now
Exactly.
you're getting a lot of business going.
Yeah.
But the problem is people think that they're just going to get in it. They're going to have their free time, but
Yeah.
I mean, you don't
You
make no
control
money.
your time. Exactly.
Yeah, it takes work. It takes work in the beginning.
And today,
Patience.
It's very easy to get distracted.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Don't
When
let-
you don't have
and
somebody
discouraged.
telling you what
do
to
this,
do, when
do
to
this,
do
do
it.
this.
you have good
Take your
whys. That's like a really good thing.
That's
Is
why
like
it's very important to have,
Right.
you know,
A
with
why.
any type of entrepreneurship you get into, your whys are going to be the most important thing.
Yeah.
yeah,
because-
because when you wake up in the morning, you don't have to do nothing if you don't want to.
Yeah.
You don't.
Nobody's going to tell you to do something. So you need a good motivation, self motivation.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's very true.
Yeah. So, but anyway,
Back to Ada
we got distracted
for
again.
the third time.
No, so I did my research. And I talked to my mom because she's my go-to person. Like, Mom, this is what I'm thinking. Like, what do you think? She's like, okay, I'll help you. And like,
Aw.
my mom, like, shout out to Mom. Like, she's my
Shout
number
out to the
one.
support.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's my
Shout
number
out to
one.
all the moms.
Yeah.
She's my number one supporter, legit. Like,
That's
I
awesome.
could tell her, like, Mom, I want to go bungee jumping for a year. Like,
like, okay.
and she's like, okay, but who's gonna watch your dogs? And I'm like, well, you are, Mom.
She's
I love
with
it.
No, she's like, okay, well, if that's something you really want to do, I think that, you can do it. And, you just have to dedicate the time. If this is something that you're very serious about, she's like, I'll pay for your startup costs. And
Wow, that's
yeah.
awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. So shout out to Mom and Stepdad. They paid for all my startup costs. They paid for my school. They paid for they paid for school. They paid for the books. On top of
Can she adopt me?
Right. on top of paying for, because I go to school at night as well. Like,
wow.
yeah. So on top of paying for my night schooling, for my books and stuff there, like, they covered all my expenses, my startup expenses for real estate.
Nice.
Yeah. So
helpful.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I took the class and I passed the test like within a couple months of taking the class. And I just dragged my feet after that.
Why? Why did you wait so long
Yeah,
to?
I don't know.
And what was the timeline? When did you take the test?
I took the test in August of last year, of 2019.
2019.
And
Okay.
I passed the class August of 2019. I
Okay.
took the test October of 2019. And then I just sat on it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Why?
Because
I
I
don't
remember
know.
I made my first debut, and you were like, "Yeah, just I passed my test too, but I ain't telling nobody."
No,
yet."
I told you.
I'm like, what?
I'm like, I sat on it for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just, I'm like, I'm not ready. You know, I had a lot of things going on. Yeah.
Personal?
Yeah. Personal things, just like life things, you know, trying to juggle still work and everything and school and stuff like that. So, but then COVID hit. And I was like, okay, I'm ready to get out there. But then COVID hit, and then I'm like, okay, I'm approaching my time to.
Yeah, 'cause you have like 1 year.
Yeah, you have 1
after
year from when you take the test.
Yep.
It's like I'm approaching my time, and I'm like, I'm about to lose I would have to take the class
hours.
over again, and pass the test all over again.
No.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. Right. Let me start interviewing. So I started interviewing, and I ended up with Weichert in Burlington. And from there, like all the money hits, right? And I'm like,
Right. You just pay. You pay money. You don't get money.
yeah,
You pay money.
all the money hits, and money out. So
Yeah, you got to look at it like a joint ventureship sometimes.
oh, absolutely,
With
yeah.
these
You have
brokerages.
to remember what we were
yourself.
talking before. It's an investment into yourself.
Exactly.
But they tell you that you don't make your first commission until like about a year. It takes about a year to make.
Oh,
your
they
first
said that
They
because I've
said
been
that.
trying to tell people that. I'm like,
Yeah.
12 months.
Yeah, that's what you told me. Yeah.
Hey,
So, but then like I was telling you, I had a client out of nowhere.
Touch on that.
Yes.
That streak of luck.
Yeah, that's streak of luck. So
Right.
I ended up with a client in my lap, and she's like, I need to move out. Like, we need to get the ball rolling.
Wait, where'd the client come from?
It's somebody that I know.
So you knew them, but how did they know to contact you?
I don't even remember. I
Oh,
think it
man.
was just like
You're
a.
violating the marketing
I
rules there.
think it
You need
was
to
just
know
a-
how they found you.
I think it was just like a general conversation, and it just happened to pop up.
Word of mouth.
Yeah, which a lot of my conversations start out that way. Like
Right.
when before I even made my announcement, that's how my
Oh, wow.
Yeah. People were talking about like. I think she posted on something like, "Oh, I want to buy a house. I can't wait to buy a house." And I think I just, shot my shot. And I'm like, "Hey, just so you know, I'm a real estate agent." But I used to work. I used to work with her, and B, like I told you, like I have a big name in banking. Like everybody that knows me knows that I'm in banking. 95% of the people that I know is because through banking. So she already knew that I know what I'm talking about, like as far as like even getting her into the house, the financial aspect of it. So we started having a conversation, and she's like, "I'm ready to move. Like this happened, this happened, and we need to get moving now." And I had just gotten I had just booked with Weichert, and I'm like, "Girl, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea what I'm
least you
doing,
was
but
being
I'm
honest with
comfortable.
her.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
comfortable
like,
enough.
listen.
I was comfortable enough with her, and I was straight up with her. Like, listen, I'm just starting out. I have no idea what I'm doing. I haven't even been assigned a mentor yet. I was like, if you in this, I'm in this, and
Right.
we winging it together.
That's
like,
cool that you tell them that because
Yeah.
if
I
and your
felt-
brokerage might want
Might
you to
hate
fake
me.
the funk.
Yeah,
like,
but-
But at least you already had a relationship with her.
I had a
so that made
relationship
it, like,
with
an
her.
easier avenue.
Right, I had a relationship with her.
Face like that.
So
it's,
I have a thing about I don't want to deal with friends and family as far as representing them because it gets messy.
it does get messy.
But I think it's good when you start
When you
because
start,
they'll
'cause we
be
don't have-
understandable.
Right.
Right.
But after, like,
Yeah, I can see how it can go left
Oh,
because
yeah.
they set an expectation for you, and maybe you can't fulfill that expectation.
And it, yeah.
So
Even though it's not your fault.
it's not your fault, right?
all right. So we went over you guys' stories and like why you got into real estate. Now I want to go to like, and this is my big pet peeve is with the brokerages. So I have secret plans as far as brokerages here, and I can't release all the plans.
You kind of announced that on the last podcast, though.
Well, I was drinking, so that doesn't
You
count.
still
You're
are.
drinking now.
Am I missing something?
So, but
ain't
anyway, I want to talk about how you guys chose your brokerages and maybe like what they do for you. I'll go into it first while you guys think about that. I'll go into my tirade. I think that brokerages don't do anything for agents. Like, there's no point. It doesn't make any difference. Like, it's just the name. So, like, yes, the name will help carry you when you don't know anything at all. Mm-hmm. But, like, for me, I don't need their name at all. Like, my name is better than their name in my network at this point. Right. So, like, they literally provide zero value to me. Like, yes, they have like some like, you know, online CRM systems, blah blah blah. But you could pay, like, you could get this stuff. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Training, like when I started, no one helped me at all. Like, I was just out here in the wilderness,
Winging it.
hoping that I could figure out what to do.
That's all of real estate.
And like, and you know, like I remember I like signed up. I actually started
10 years in?
6.
6, okay.
And I started with it was a Remax, but like they put me under a boutique version of Remax or something. It's a whole long thing, whatever. It's boring. But
Tell us the long version.
No long version.
Gonna fall asleep.
Yeah. But like I woke up the next day and I was like, what do I do? Like, you know, like, is something supposed to happen? Now I have my license. No,
Some
nothing.
magical thing.
Nothing happens.
Spark off. No.
Nothing happens.
Same person, same thing.
No one gives you money. No
Right.
one calls you.
Right.
Like, no one cares.
It's like, so what's going
They
on
send you
now?
a bill.
yeah, right. They
Right.
sent
Yep,
you a bill.
there you go.
You
Ma'am,
gotta pay them.
your errors and omissions is due.
I know. I just had to pay for Bright.
Right. So you
Yeah.
gotta pay all this money.
I
So,
got that email as
You
well.
did?
like,
1099.
what do you do? Well, you know, like, I don't know, you know, like, I had no clue what to do. And young version of me at that time didn't understand marketing. So, like, how do you find people? You don't if you don't know how to do
And
it.
social media wasn't as like prevalent.
And
like,
that's why
in that time that you started.
You know what?
Yeah.
That's why I'm big on social media now, but I'll get into that in a little
Okay.
bit because
Okay.
it's crazy.
But that's why I said when I got into wholesaling first, that was it helped me a lot with
You know how the game goes.
exactly. So when I was already in it, I started seeing how real estate really works. Because when you're in wholesaling, you literally have to network everything yourself. You're reaching out to buyers, like end buyers. You're reaching out to sellers. You're reaching out to realtors. You don't have access to the MLS. So now you have to literally network with every part of real estate.
Right.
You got to know them.
Just to
Right.
just
Awesome.
to sell a piece of paper, pretty much. You know what I mean? Like that's where the money comes from.
Right,
So,
right.
but that helped me once I got my license because I kind of already knew the ins and outs of real estate,
game.
and people kind of know
That you were involved in, in the
yeah.
industry.
And I don't like to say that I was actually doing.
Yeah, I feel
practicing
you.
real
Like, you
estate.
don't want to be one of them people like, I'm in, you know, if you don't close nothing or whatever.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
But people recognized it, so
But you learn, though.
I
You
learned a
learn
lot.
by doing it.
I learned a lot.
So, yeah, basically, the brokerages don't do anything for you guys. That's my opinion. So, how did you guys go about choosing your brokerage? And you know, like, I don't want you just to trash them or whatever, but if you want to, you can. You
Do
know,
not
I don't
do
mind.
Do
that.
not
I don't
trash
wanna
your
get you in
brokerage.
trouble.
Don't do
How do you
that.
watch that?
I used to trash your brokerage.
Right, it's still
If I
there.
trash my brokerage and I get fired, I'm coming to you. That's what's gonna happen.
Hey, we don't have a big following yet. Like, if we had like 1 million views, that
But
would
we
be a
will
problem.
eventually. Then
Right.
dig up these old clips.
No,
like you
but
have.
These videos will be the classics.
Yeah, you.
Yeah.
Yo,
facts.
so that's one of my theories here is like, even if my
myself.
content never like blows up or whatever, like is a big,
It
big
will
thing.
blow
You
up,
have to
Ryan.
manifest it, right?
What happens is, and Gary Vee said this, like, and I'm not comparing myself to Steve Jobs or anything like that, but if I get
You
to
are.
a certain, if I get to a certain success level, it would be crazy 10 years from now to look at this.
Yeah.
For
You know
sure.
what I'm saying? Like, you'd be like, what?
It's like,
or
what?
even just for me, or when you have kids, like,
Right.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, you have a thing that you could show them what you were
Yeah.
Like,
thinking.
yo, this is where I started.
And you could laugh at yourself like, oh my God, why
I-
was I saying that? Why did
Right.
I mean, we
Why
get the
was I
Facebook
wearing that?
memories.
Yo, seriously.
The Facebook memories are embarrassing.
The longer it goes,
Embarrassing. They're mortifying.
Right.
I mean, I'm thinking I haven't seen anybody post any, so it must have been a lot going on.
the
Nah,
cringing, like,
you
I'm
have-
like, nah, I'm good. I'm never posting
Good
those.
thing we're not friends on Facebook because I post all my memories.
I'm gonna have to go back. I'm gonna have to post some dumb stuff that I was saying.
Please
No,
don't.
for real.
No,
You
That's
gotta
a
go
good
back
idea.
I'm
And,
gonna
go
go
back and
back
laugh
there
at
and do
yourself.
You know what
I think
comes
you
up?
posted a memory like you were like in a suit when you were first became a realtor.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
like
Stop.
showing some
I
houses
used
or
to
something.
I've seen that.
Yeah, you
I've
saw
seen
It
that.
was so I was cracking up.
Yeah, no, Ryan, I was
look
laughing
so
at you. I'm sorry.
I had the light skin face. I had the light skin face.
Oh, wait, in his suit, and I'm like, look at him now, not wearing a suit anymore.
Yo,
Put it on.
I used to go to Temple like that.
With a
That's
suit?
when I was going to school. I used to get dressed up. I would go to Express. I had all my Express. All
Okay.
fresh
Okay.
tie,
Right.
everything.
Look at me.
Right.
Back in my day, I used to be a light skinned pretty boy. I don't know.
His
I'm
old
like
pics. You
opposite
showed
of
the
that
old
now.
pic? Yeah.
I'm
Had, like,
opposite
the
of-
six pack and all that.
Yeah,
You're
I used
not
to be in
you're not
shape.
light skinned or pretty.
Used to be.
I don't act like it at all.
Okay.
I see you getting back out there on the field.
Oh, I've been playing in the soccer league for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got out of shape. I don't know. I'm working on it though.
It'd be like this.
Quarantine messed me up. I was going to the gym
Yeah.
like every day. I was going 6 days a week, and I was losing weight, doing good. Quarantine hit.
Yeah.
Closed the gym. I could never get with the home workout. I got 3 dogs. They'll jump on you when you're trying to, like, it was just like, it was,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
it
too much
just don't
going
feel
on at
it.
home.
So,
That's supposed to be the sanctuary.
The dogs will do the most.
but now the gym's back. But
Sorry,
the
my
gym with
client
the
is
mask, that's
I'm not
kind of
messing
tough.
with the gym with the mask.
No, you got to do it. You get used to it.
How do you breathe?
You don't. You just try.
Oh, you don't
You
breathe.
don't breathe. Just keep
try.
going.
No, you won't die. You don't have to breathe. You just keep
Listen,
going.
I got asthma. Like, I need to breathe.
Ooh, the asthma's no joke though. You
No,
can't play
asthma's-
around.
Yeah, I don't like working out. I told you the one time I worked out. What?
We should go.
No,
we
I
should go
don't-
to the gym.
No,
You
because
should
you're
go
going to
with
laugh
me.
at me. You're
so-
not about to laugh
Why
at
would
me.
I laugh? I can't laugh.
I, people
I'm
people
sure
laugh.
worse than you.
Listen, people laugh at me because I tell them I don't like to sweat. Like, I'm like, I don't
It's
like.
nasty.
Is
I
it?
don't
I'm like,
I feel dirty. Just take a shower.
it's sweaty. Like,
I know.
Yeah,
I'm
that's a
bougie.
violation. You can't do that.
That's-
I was in the army and you can't say stuff like that around me.
what?
No, I'm
You
just
can't sweat.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
No,
But
I
yeah,
can't.
let's talk about these brokerages. Like,
Oh, yeah. That's right.
what are
I
they?
got distracted. Sorry.
No, that's why the podcast is good. Like,
Sorry,
I think
Sergeant
it's a
Ryan.
good.
Yeah.
I think it's a good mix.
I pretty much I use Google
What do you mean?
to find my brokerage.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
so-
you know the
so-
big ones. So why
Of
did you go to
course.
Keller Williams?
Hmm?
Why'd you go to Keller Williams?
The stuff that I was reading about the technology aspect
Right.
of it.
It's all bullshit.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
The thing about it
Can
is,
he talk, please?
no, but look,
They all got technology.
Gosh,
Yeah.
Ryan.
I feel
yeah,
like I
it's,
can't
it's,
hear
it's
myself.
all the same technology that we use.
I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
But
Where you at?
their split
you
was
up.
pretty good. I mean, because look, you got to look at it like this.
The split. That's all that matters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why. That's why I was just about to say. You got to look at it like this. Any broker, you have to hang your license. So
Right.
Yeah.
Comes down
go
to the split.
when you look at these brokerages. How can they help you?
Yes.
That's it. It's not a
Yes.
job interview.
Nope.
You don't have to go visit 100.
No.
How can you? That's why I use Google. How can they help me? You know, and they have mentorship programs.
Yeah.
So
Do you guys like that? You guys went through the mentorship program. You
it's
wanna
not
explain
even.
that a
It's
little
not
bit?
even. They have that, but what I have is a productivity coach.
So what do
So-
they do?
They help you the same way how you said 9 a.m. Like I have somebody that I can contact anytime. So if you were having questions about your contract earlier,
Yeah.
I would send him a text, call him. I can set up daily meetings, weekly Zooms, phone calls.
You got to pay them for that.
Yeah, he
Yes.
gets a percentage.
Wait.
yeah.
Oh, so
Like how you
Jess.
are to me.
Damn, Jess, you should be paying me then.
I do. With
All
each
this
transaction.
All this time I've
With
been.
each transaction.
No, they take part of your transaction.
we
You
pay.
don't take part of mine?
Yeah, but not
Answer the question, Ryan.
Right. I'm like, it's the same thing.
Yes or no?
You pimping me?
They take a portion of your transaction.
If you run into a problem, you can call him.
They take
anytime.
They take more than I.
Now, Ryan,
they take more than I take.
So that was the biggest things for me. The split and somebody that I can call that he's been in the business for 30 years.
Right.
So he's been in the business since
you need
they
someone to
had
ask
the-
questions.
Absolutely.
Crazy shit happens.
He's been in the business since you had the right signed contracts with a certain pen all the way to now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like any kind of I ran into problems.
I'm trying to put
Yeah,
these dinosaurs out of business, dog.
I mean that's
They're going to
I'm
waste
trying
soon.
to-
Eventually, they'll
I'm
be
trying
out
to
of
take
it.
them
Yes.
out.
time is undefeated. Time is
Yeah.
time is undefeated.
Yeah.
Get me started
I'm
with
trying
that.
to take them out.
Wow.
There's a lot of them, though.
This escalated.
Are we gonna win?
But if this technology keep elevating,
It's
They
a
don't
new-
know. They
it's
don't
a-
know how to use a
Exactly.
computer.
And that's the
It's a
thing.
new
So-
generation. It's
So-
a
I
new
love it.
generation.
I love it.
right? So that was that pretty much is.
Let's
the
talk
two
about
biggest
splits
things.
real quick, just for people that don't know what a split is. So when you sell a real estate property, normally this is not standard, but if
He has to say that.
if the seller is giving 6% to the agent, then they split that 3% on the buyer's agent side and 3% on the listing agent side. But you don't get that whole 3% because your brokerage has a split. So you could have a 50-50 split after the 3%, or you could have a 70-30, whatever. So basically a $200,000 house is 3% of that is $6,000, and then you would get a certain percentage of that $6,000. The worst split's probably like a 50-50
Yeah.
split,
Yeah.
so you would get only $1,500. And so when you negotiate with brokerages,
This is why Ryan hates brokerages.
what are they doing?
To get that.
They're not doing
That is-
anything.
yeah.
Listen, I don't know.
They gave you a mentor, but the mentor is an agent in the brokerage who is independent himself.
right.
Right,
I would
so-
say they do a lot more than you're probably giving them credit.
You get
for.
so look, we get access to a bunch of technology, CRM programs, like all these things. But here's my problem with these guys is that they are at least 5 years behind technology.
Yeah.
So like their systems that our company came out with a new system and they were talking about it for like a year. It came out and I was like super unimpressed because and they're
what-
like,
what
hey,
did we
we
say
have video
earlier?
walkthroughs.
What did we say? We grew up with technology.
Right.
Right.
That's why we're super picky.
And
Yeah.
the average
Right.
agent in this real estate world is 50 to 55 years
Right.
old. So
Right.
like
Oh,
they
really?
don't know what they're talking
That's
about.
why the split and the mentorship is the most important thing.
You need to-
because
yes.
if you grew I'm 29, so if you're in my generation, you know how technology works.
Right.
You can network, you can
Right.
make your own websites. You have you can do that.
Right. That's
So
what-
I would say
Just because people know how to use Facebook doesn't mean that you know how to market on Facebook, though.
yeah.
I will
that's
say
true.
that, like, because kids know, like, even like a 5-year-old is just pouring the drinks.
Wait, it's not the fact that she's pouring the drinks; it's her face while she's pouring. It's like,
She's
yeah,
trying to get to this one,
I'm
Ryan.
gonna
Right.
get him. I'm gonna get him.
Because he's going to be cutting up, and I need him to.
Because normally I'm so conservative.
I know. All over
you know,
preserved.
so.
Yeah, I like it.
But I think even like a 5-year-old knows how to use a phone, but they actually have no concept of like how it works or like what to do with it other than what the
Right.
apps allow
So that's
you
what
to
I'm
do.
saying.
Right.
If these brokerages are offering you all this awesome technology, that's what I mean. If they're offering you like, oh, we have all this awesome technology, you could do this. You probably
It's old.
already
Yeah, you could do better.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Pay attention to it. How much are you splitting with them? Are you getting any type of mentorship? If you're closing deals, do they have affiliations with title companies or
That's helpful.
places that you can close your deal? Right. Like, because if you're new, right, you may not know a lot, but you can look super professional.
Right, resources,
Right.
marketing,
Resources. Meet me in my office. Right.
That's the
Come
best
here.
argument is that you have the name, the resources. You
Right.
know,
Right.
And you're 6 years in. So at this point, that's
Yeah, I
why
don't value
you know
none of that. Like,
exactly.
Right.
None of that.
Exactly.
I'm confident.
agents.
I have my own brand. Like
Yeah.
people know what I'm about.
Right
like,
now,
For the newbies.
right
Right.
now we're in a pandemic, right? I don't really know if we still are.
Don't get me started.
No,
on
no.
COVID.
Yeah, let's keep it real estate, but you know, I mean,
let's not
listen,
talk
you follow me on
politics.
Facebook,
Right.
so listen.
He said, I don't know if we still are.
I'm like, I be seeing your posts too. Them two, they could. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, all day about it. So,
They're all-
so exactly. So, what are they offering you during this quarantine? Right? Like, how are they helping you? Being as though that you
Are they
can't
doing
operate
anything?
your business the same way.
Is
Yeah,
your
I mean-
brokerage what's your brokerage doing as far as that?
They during the quarantine they were holding like everything that they were holding, like the classes. They have like, you know, free classes that we can, all types of technology classes, buyer.
Do you
know,
like the classes that you guys have? You find them?
I haven't went to any of the classes. I'm not even gonna lie. I haven't went to any of
No,
the classes.
that's not.
I-
That's
I
not
haven't
not
either.
normal. Like
Yeah,
like
we
our
did
office
one
meetings,
class
we don't
Yeah.
attend. We
With
don't
Berkshire.
do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
because
that's what I'm saying. Like I don't
Yeah.
because
use
look,
that stuff.
again, I was already kind of like in real estate before
So you
I
know, yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah.
a lot of the stuff I would more so watch like the Zoom videos, like if I wasn't doing anything during, you know,
Right.
quarantine when we were stuck.
Our pizza came. That's
Yeah, I was
what
like,
we-
who?
Yeah, when we were on house arrest. Yeah, so that's, you know, they had all those classes online, so anybody can, you know, they were giving away a lot of stuff that, you know, anything that was like you paid for to like do, they did it for free.
Right.
And
you used to have to pay for the classes?
no, not the classes, but they have like some mega camp. That I haven't done.
So you're not using the resources we got.
I use the main resource I use is the one that I pay, you know, and that's my productivity coach. Great guy, has helped me through all my deals.
Because you will,
Awesome.
like, so in real estate, like, even now, I don't know everything. Like, I run into an issue, like, very commonly that I don't know anything about. Like, I had a bulk sale. I didn't know
And
nothing
explain
about
that.
it.
what is that? So I can know now.
Don't ask me to explain it because I
Okay.
don't know.
All right. So you didn't learn anything from
Listen,
that?
I just opened my real estate book and I just so happened to read about
Girl, I don't
books.
even know what my book is.
I
Like,
just,
Listen, I reference that all the time. I'm like,
Really?
so
I have no idea
what
what
does
that
this
book is.
mean? Because remember, I told you the CO situation.
Oh yeah.
COs are
Yeah.
very
Okay. So
difficult.
talk about the CEO situation, Ada. What happened? Like,
So
And that's
CO,
and listen,
Listen,
since
agent.
we're on the subject of brokerages, that was another thing. Like when the COVID hit, COs became a problem because all the county buildings were
we're
closed.
going to get to all that because that's a whole thing that made me want to quit.
Right. But listen,
real estate be making me nauseous sometimes. Like,
now if you say you're in a smaller brokerage or you don't have one and you're about to run into those problems, who do you go to?
Does your your brokerage will help you?
They
order
were-
the
they were-
so
Yeah,
CO
they
is
were-
certificate of occupancy here in New Jersey. Each town requires you to get a CO or certificate of occupancy saying that the property is viable to live in, like it's not dangerous. And every town has a different requirement, blah blah blah, and so that's a required at part of a transaction.
Right. So
I'm just clarifying for people.
no, yeah,
No, you're fine.
Exactly. So that was one of the things that became an issue because
Oh,
they
disaster.
they weren't going out to houses. If there were people living there, they had to be out of the house for 48 hours. How do you somebody trying to sell a house or, you know, buy a house and there's nobody doing COs?
right.
How do we close deals? Right? So if you're an
Believe everything.
agent, if you're a new agent, you're by yourself, you don't have a brokerage, how do you answer that question?
Right.
You're in the middle of
don't.
closing the transaction, right? I call my productivity coach, right?
Yeah.
That's what, you know, that's one of the things that you pay them for.
The
You
benefit.
need that.
Yeah.
So with COVID,
agree.
it's messing up.
Because if I didn't have you, I'll be like, huh?
Right.
I'm just so lucky that I have you.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
Justin.
know, 'cause-
I will say,
Don't yeah.
I make it up. Like there's no rules right now. You know, like I'm
When I ask you
I'm
things,
using-
you just make it up.
kind of like I'm using information I have
So-
from other situations to apply it to this situation.
But that's okay because we're in real estate.
Right.
But so that's another big thing is like people think that there's rule like because agents have such like they're used to doing things like a tradition. They think that that's the law or how you have to do things.
Okay. Right.
And you don't have to do them that way.
Right.
But honestly, I'll be realizing even the seasoned realtors, they don't even know what the heck is going on.
Look, so
like.
So
they're just trying to make a settlement.
Yeah,
right.
They don't have a clue.
So here's a PSA to all people looking to hire real estate agents. A lot of the popular or best real estate agents are not the best because they know all the real estate stuff. It's because they're good with people. I've read a bunch of studies that say that most people choose a real estate agent based off of who they like the most,
right?
Which has nothing to do with their ability,
right?
And so that cascades if you keep working with, like, agents are just good salespeople with talking to people.
Right.
That really doesn't mean that, because I've talked to some bird brain agents that don't know what the heck they're talking about, and
All
they
the
have
time.
but they have a bunch of business.
I'm like, I'm new and I know that's wrong. Like, come on.
I'm saying.
Right.
So, if you're looking to employ an agent, keep that in mind, So,
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jess.
What?
I've been dominating the conversation.
I know, because you
wait, we wanted to know about
and now you
Ada's-
going to sit here and talk. Like,
We want to know
Right.
about Ada's CO situation.
The CO situation?
Yes, please. That conversation that we had, because I was laughing for 20 minutes straight.
So I'm
And her being new. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm new, and I'm under contract,
Right.
And the
just talking about how you got thrown into that contract.
Yeah, right, exactly. So it fell into my lap, and so you have to make these deadlines, and I'm like, okay, and I'm like working my day job, and I'm not aware of like what's going on because I'm working my 9 to 5, and I'm like, and I lose track of dates. Like I lose track of dates really bad, and that's why they like. So I started. I'll talk about time blocking later, but it's just because I'm all over the place. I got school, I got work, I'm dual career, I'm like triple career. I don't know.
Girl, I
anyway,
know. If anybody knows, I know.
So the seller's agent texts me, and she's like, she's asking me some information, and then she calls me, and she's like, yeah, I'm at the county office right now, trying to get CO, and I'm like,
Oh, you didn't know what CO was?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
What's she?
So I'm like,
this is great. This is great. This is the best story of all time.
right, that's.
No, I've been there.
That's what I
This
told her.
happened
I was
to
like,
me.
you got to say this on the
has happened to me.
podcast.
So
Like,
I was like, okay, so remind me what CO is again.
Oh no!
Wow.
But you told her you was new?
And like, yeah, I had to tell her, like, because like somebody that would have been in the
Industry,
they,
you know what
they
CO
would have
is.
known what
You gotta
CO
be
was.
honest.
Yeah.
So I was like, so in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm talking to Jess about this, and in my mind, I'm like, CO. Why does she need to talk to a corrections officer?
For a real estate transaction.
Right, I'm like,
what are you doing here?
I don't get it. And she's like, certificate of occupancy?
Did she say it slow like that?
Like, yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
At that very moment, she wondered who she hired.
Right, she was like, oh my
Exactly.
God.
Like,
This is the biggest transaction of my life. And she doesn't know what she's
Right.
about.
I'm like,
I
what?
would have destroyed you as a seller's
I
agent.
believe it. I believe it.
that? But you know she's new.
No, but I didn't put that information out there to the seller's agent, and I didn't
Oh
want
wait,
to.
the buyer was there?
No,
Or
the buyer wasn't
she
there.
The
was on
listing
the phone.
agent
Just-
asked you that?
Yes. So she's like, I'm at
sorry,
the
I
county.
would've went, but-
No, I believe it.
Why?
Because like you're
Yo, in
it's
my
that-
old age, I've been getting grumpy, yo. I've been fighting with
No, but you
I'm
set
like,
this
I don't
expectation
be
for
playing.
Everybody's
who-
so mean.
No,
Look, I'll kick it right back
So,
to you. I don't
well,
care if I
that's-
don't know what I'm talking
Everyone's passive aggressive. I'm
Well,
aggressive. Like,
yeah,
yo,
so-
yo, you do
about. Well,
the
you saw
passive-aggressive
some of my
thing.
messages. You know, I could get there too.
You can get there,
Yeah.
but like
Oh, you
I'm
saw
a
it
new,
too.
I'm a new agent. Like
Yeah.
I'm trying to still navigate this thing,
Girl.
and then like I told you guys
By the end of
earlier,
that
I was
transaction, you gonna be sending, like,
yo, I'm gonna be an
Yo, sit
expert.
down.
I'm like
Yeah. I'm telling you,
typing up like.
because they get crazy.
No, they do get
talk to
crazy.
me like
So like recently
it's the
she
worst.
emailed me and she's like, she texted me and she's like, by the way, I don't work on Saturdays. And I'm like,
Oh, really?
Oh, the list agent said that?
yes.
That's
And
nuts.
I'm like,
As a realtor, you don't work on Saturdays? Okay. All right.
exactly. How you not work on Saturdays?
Right.
Like, this is like big open house days. Like, so I'm looking, I'm like, okay, thanks for the heads up. But like, I'm a very, like by nature, I'm a very friendly person. Like,
Yeah.
I'm nice.
Yeah.
Like, I happen
You
to be-
are.
I'm just a jerk sometimes. But by,
You'll
so
fit right in.
I'm, and by nature, a
Be
naturally
nice,
nice
but then
person.
be a jerk.
Right. But like, so I'm expecting,
Yeah.
like what I put out, I expect people to reciprocate.
No.
But if
Yeah,
life
it's
has
not gonna
shown you
happen.
anything,
It's not gonna happen.
It's not, it doesn't work that way.
I learned that quickly, and
Right.
when I had to actually get buck with somebody, like I was just like, "Yo, Ryan, like I'm about to curse her out because the lady she was coming at me, like, who do you think you talk? I don't
Right.
work for you.
Right.
I do not work for you. So
Right.
I had to put her in her place, and then she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Yeah,
Okay.
you better be
Yeah,
sorry.
you better be sorry. And she been coming correct ever since.
Yo, that's the real estate agent. And actually, all
is it an
sales
ego
is
thing?
really passive aggressive, but agents are like the bitchiest people of all time.
But it's like, why?
But
For what purpose,
But it's like
right.
the
Yeah.
California like aggressiveness where like it's real passive, and if you check it, they'll be like, "Oh, I'm very sorry."
yeah,
Yeah,
and then they look at me like, "Why are you getting like that? What happened? What you mean?"
Because most of the people don't do that, but yo, like even as a new agent, you need to have confidence. Like this is
Right.
why I said there's no rules. Like this
Yeah.
shit,
They don't know what you know.
this traditional.
They don't know
That's
what you know,
facts.
right?
And also, like
And you'll be
the way
surprised how much you know
the
compared
way
to them.
that the way
Mm-hmm.
that they're used to doing stuff is not the only way you can do it. So like
Right.
stand on your 2 feet and say, no, like,
Right.
Yeah.
you know,
Be
like
firm.
that's not how we're doing this.
Right.
Right.
Even as a new person, if one thing I could tell you to do is be confident in
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
And you actually probably know the legal stuff better than an older agent,
Right.
Because
Fresher.
you
Right.
took the class. Because
Right.
once you start doing it, you don't remember all that stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So be confident and have backbone, because these people will run over you and that crazy.
Listen,
you know,
like
right?
I told you, I had to whip out my real estate book because the contract fell in my lap, and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing with this contract. I just happened to get a contract.
No mentor,
And I'm like,
nobody,
no mentor. I
right?
haven't been
Yeah.
assigned a mentor yet, and
Why
like,
didn't they assign
and
you a
like my
mentor?
because I'm dual agent, so
Okay.
I'm sure they have a mentor in mind.
Right.
It's just I can't. My schedule doesn't always
Align with
allow
the mentors.
right with the mentor
Yeah,
schedule.
and I remember it kind of fell in your lap. you
It,
said,
it
right?
literally fell in my lap. So
Yeah.
I got this contract, and I'm like,
no time.
I'm calling the buyer, and I'm like, you have to sign this contract, but I have to read it over first. So I whipped out my real estate book. I'm like, I paid $400 for this thing. I'm like,
whatever you gotta
I'm gonna
do.
put it to use.
Yeah.
So I whipped out my real
That's
estate
the
book.
best thing to do.
No, honestly, like if you're gonna, you have these resources,
Use them.
use them.
And
You
the
paid-
contract rules everything. Like it don't matter what
Facts.
nobody says.
Right.
In the
does.
contract.
Yo,
That's
if it
what I
don't
learned
say
in
it
my
in the
class.
contract,
Yep.
it don't mean nothing.
Exactly. So I'm looking through this contract, and it just so happened to be like a really cut and dry contract. Like it wasn't like
Right.
it didn't have any stipulations or any contingencies or anything like that. But I'm like, yo, I have no idea what this means.
The language.
Right. So I'm like looking through my real estate book, and I'm like, okay, I think I got this.
Yeah.
So I happened to talk to my productivity coach the following day, and she's like, "Did you get a chance to read over the contract?" And I was like, yeah. I was like, so she pinpointed a couple things out on the contract, and I was like, oh yeah, I definitely addressed that. Oh, I did that.
Did you?
I did that. Yeah. So,
Oh, okay, so
so
you did it,
her
yeah.
following up behind me, it gave me confidence. I was like,
Good.
okay,
Oh.
I'm not
Okay,
as
good.
stupid as I think I am.
Yeah,
See?
and now you to the
Just gotta get
brokerage.
there.
And
like,
that, and
have
that,
person.
yeah, and that's very
confidence.
valuable.
Right,
because-
right. So I can almost always text my productivity coach or email her and
Okay.
the processor too, and okay, and find out information that I need, but. You know, they have their own things going on too. So I can't always get that information. So I'm like, so half the time I really am just winging it. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I hope I remember these terms. Like people are talking to me about like, because they, you know, you speak in abbreviations once you know
Yeah.
the lingo.
Jargon,
Yeah, the jargon,
Listen.
exactly. And the jargon, I'm not
Be messing-
seasoned. Right.
right.
I'm like
is this?
3 months in. And I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. I'm just
Yeah.
winging it right now.
The crazy thing is my buyers can't tell. They think I'm the smartest person on the
Really?
planet. Yeah, they don't.
Because you are
But you,
smart.
but we
Like,
are.
oh, you got it. You got it. Jeff.
Now-
I trust you. I'm like, oh, okay.
Mortgages, financing, financial education.
Right. All right, guys. So as we were talking, because we was talking earlier about this, and we were talking about the idea of a real estate agent, like
Right.
being a cookie cutter,
Right.
you know, type person. So with that being said, what do you guys believe, you know, is a real estate agent? Well, starting with you, Ada. Since
Starting
I'm looking
with
at
me?
you. Yeah. Yeah. What do you believe? Yes.
I mean,
Thank you,
from
Like, what is your role? Like,
What is your role? What do you
see
do?
your role
What is their
as?
expectation as far as your clients?
I mean, I guess we're here to facilitate the transaction between buyer and seller.
Well, that's the textbook
Right,
definition.
that's the textbook
Yes,
definition, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Don't do that, Ryan. Don't do that, Ryan. You did that efficiently, though.
All right, so to rephrase
that,
in your own
yeah,
words.
in my
what do you
own
believe?
words.
No, I agree that you do.
No, that's
facilitate.
literally what our role is.
And you
I
go
feel
talking
like you
again.
say that when things are going wrong. Like, I'm just here to facilitate the transaction.
Let me exit out of
Just so you know, I'm just here. I'm just here to help you.
I'm not a party to the transaction, so
You
if
forever
everything-
telling me that though, but you are forever telling me
Meanwhile,
that.
it's your best friend. Like,
Oh,
Okay.
Lord.
I mean, all right. So for me, like outside of facilitating the transaction, I provide financial education.
So another textbook. Okay.
I do. No,
seriously.
as your role as
Yeah.
a real estate agent, you don't have to provide financial
Nope.
education. You don't have to.
Your advice.
Yeah. So
You are advising your client.
Right, I'm advising my client
step they should take.
right, the correct steps that they would take,
Right.
and they look to you because you're supposed to be the knowledgeable one, with a lot of things,
Right.
and I'm just like. No, but yeah. So you facilitate the transaction. You could provide financial education. You do. I mean, 9 times out of 10, you end up doing the research for them anyway,
All
as
the
far as
time.
like finding the homes and stuff like that.
Right.
I mean, it feels like you're a liaison between you and other areas of the actual transaction itself. When it comes to closing, titling, insurance, all of that. Like, so, I mean, you're their go-to person. You are, it seems like you're in charge of almost the whole thing.
Yeah.
So that's the tough thing that I'm having a trouble with, and I talk to you about Jess about this a lot. Is like, you are the most client-facing person, and you become responsible for things that you cannot control. They look to you for the financing.
Yep.
Yeah.
You have to make sure that the title work gets done. You have
Right.
to make sure that you negotiate the deal. You have to make sure that the contract is right. So you are doing a lot of activities,
Right.
especially with the financial stuff. I find myself advising clients about that. I feel comfortable with that because I've been a licensed loan officer before. So I really pay attention to what's going on in financing world. Some older agents will tell you not to do that because it could be a liability as far
correct.
as now you're giving
Financial advice.
So you're
Right.
talking for loan officers and you're not a licensed loan officer.
Right.
Yeah.
But for me personally, I find that it's very important to make sure
It is.
that we are educating people.
Yeah, I agree with that because honestly, my clients, they always come to me. They don't go to their loan officer.
Exactly.
They come straight to me with all the questions about
Right.
finances, every
Should
question.
I do this? Should I do
Everything. It
that?
doesn't
Should I stop
matter.
paying my student loans? I'm
Cor-
like, girl,
correct.
I don't know.
But unlike most agents, I think it's a really whack and a cop out answer to just
say, go back to your loan officer.
Talk to your loan officer.
Right. Absolutely.
There
Correct.
is a time to tell them to do that.
Right.
But I think
I'll wait till
that
it gets to a point where I can't give you numbers, right?
Right.
So
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
that's the point. But as far as advice, because we have that experience,
Right.
I'll let them know, like candidly,
Same.
tell them straight up, like,
Right.
no,
I
you're not
don't-
supposed to be doing that. You can't get this elsewhere. I don't know who told you that,
Exactly.
but that's wrong,
Right.
So I'm glad that I can offer that advice to them.
But
Right.
I will say that it's also, I don't know if you guys feel this way, but I know me and Jess feel this way, which is why I was trying to recruit Jess for like 3 years. Is that
The shade.
we?
I know, right?
That's not shade. That's like positivity.
3 years. It took you 3 years.
No,
to actually.
it takes 3
Shade.
years.
I know, but like I didn't act on it until
Takes
like
your
last
time.
year.
Yeah, but I mean, everyone's time comes when it comes. But my thing about it is like, some agents will be very far removed from the transaction where they really they act like attorneys where they don't want to be involved in anything, like they don't want to talk about anything in the home inspection. So here's the thing, like when you go through a home inspection, the agent is not a expert in mold or construction, so
Yeah.
technically
Right.
they cannot give you professional advice as far as that. But in reality, especially because I flip homes, I do construction,
Right.
like that's my biggest value add is like, hey, look, the floor joists are in good shape. Hey, you got to factor in the cost of the roof. That might be $20,000. Make sure you factor that in when you're looking to buy a house for, like if one house has an old roof, one house has a new roof, you wanna factor that in. So that's like a big value add for me. But I think an experience, like an agent that has 30 years experience might tell you not to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a big disparity between how agents view their job. So it's always interesting to see what people think about it. Anthony, how do you feel? What do you think your role is? And then what's like your process as far as working with clients?
I pretty much consider myself like a liaison, like between, like I don't, if possible, I don't ever want my clients to have to communicate with like buyers or sellers. Like,
Oh, that's nuts. Yeah, you can't do that.
like, yeah. So like, it's like, I want them to be able to, like you said, like I want them to be able to come to me for whatever they need. Even if I don't have the answer, I can give you my opinion.
Right.
You know what I mean? And being as though that we are licensed, we have to disclose when they want to go into like, stuff about the law and, things about like financing. It's like, it's only so much we can really go into before it's like, all right, like,
That's out of my realm.
Yeah, you have to talk to, but that's why it's important to know. I know a couple lenders that I can reach out to, and more so versus saying, hey, like you got to go talk to a lender. I'll give you a number and an email, like a number and an email. Hey, reach out to this guy. Like he's a good guy, whether, because being as though when you first come into real estate, like everybody hits you up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right? You get 100 people in your inbox saying they want to buy, they want to invest, right?
Yeah, we were just talking about that.
Yeah, so you sorting it out and then, but I would say like my biggest thing is just being a liaison. Like anything they need, they can come to me.
I go to.
Yeah, like a go-to person, and I want to be knowledgeable.
So that actually
Super
brings me to another point.
I was
where-
asking for something.
Don't ask me that because hold on, we'll get
you're gonna
there.
say
Let me
you-
ask my question
'cause
first.
you're gonna say they
Hold
don't need
that.
one.
Hold that. So that brings me to another question, which I've been struggling with because back in the day, the agents used to have the only access to the MLS. It used to come in a book,
Right.
And so you couldn't see what was for sale unless you went to the agent and saw that book, and they would show you what's for sale, and that's how you actually got discrimination and all that stuff. But now we have the internet, right? So like. I don't really have much better information than you do when you go on Realtor.com.
Yeah, and I was gonna say that like most of the time, and I would say I've been an agent for almost a year, so most buyers know what they want. They've already researched the house.
Do they?
As far as
You got lucky, Ant.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they say they know what
Most
they
of the time
want,
they think.
but half the time they can't afford what they really want.
That's a good point.
But that's
too.
that's
That's because of HGTV. Everybody watching HGTV.
Yeah.
and I'm more so
humbled
talking
with
about
that.
the qualified
qualified
buyers,
buyers.
like
Okay.
the ones that I'm already.
They
like,
know what they're looking
Locked
for.
in with.
the ones that I've worked with.
You're
Yeah,
lucky, bro.
Yeah.
Listen, that's what I said.
but listen,
He's not lucky.
I had a seller. We 4 days out from closing, his house caught on fires.
Oh,
So that's the kind of luck I have as well.
Oh, that's not.
So we still sold it, but it had to get pushed back. It had to, but that was one of those things, right?
That's wild.
When I'm his agent, right? So the fire happens, who does he call? He's selling his house.
Yeah.
Who does he call, right? So at that point,
True.
what am I can't just, we're about to close.
Yeah.
I have to have some type of answer,
Yeah.
right? So I obviously I calm them down. Listen, first you have homeowners insurance, right?
Yeah.
They forget.
hope
They forget.
so.
Yo, people forget insurance.
a whole
You should pray your house burns down because you'll get a way better house. Don't worry about it.
Honestly.
I had a BMW, right? Terrible investment. I used to wish it get hit every.
Listen,
like,
don't get me
you know,
started on cars.
So I no longer have that car. So, but yeah, his house, it caught on fire.
That's crazy.
We ended up. It's crazy that it happened, and he ended up making more money.
Yes.
Because the market shot up.
That's
so
what I'm
it caught
telling
on
you.
fire, right?
And it worked out.
I had missed calls at like 3 a.m, right? I wake up, I see it, it's over. Like, you know, they're kind of just distraught because they're
crying.
Right.
Right. So
my home.
calm them down, you know.
Imagine.
Listen, you have homeowners insurance, right? You know, it was an accident. It wasn't arson. Like, you know, so like, all right, just relax. Like, you know, I made a couple phone calls to my brokerage. You know, hey, that was when I ran into a problem. We're 4 days out from closing. You know,
That's wild.
hey, what do I do? You know what I mean? Like,
Help.
SOS.
but meanwhile, you're on the phone with your hey, listen, you know,
It's all good.
You gotta,
Don't worry. Calm down.
This is what you do. Let me make a few phone calls.
Yep.
Right? If you don't have the answer, let me make a
Let me
phone call.
Let me just reach out to this
Anybody
person.
can
You gotta
respect
sound
that,
calm.
right? Anybody can respect that. If you don't have the I will find it for
I will
you.
find you the
Correct.
answer.
I'm big on
Right?
that.
Yeah.
I'm so
Yeah,
big on
so
Huge.
it ended up working out. He ended up making more money on the house than what it because he ended up getting brand new carpet.
Yeah, brand new.
what's up.
It's a brand new house
Now-
at that point.
Yep.
You know, I took the house off, put it back up. You know, so it all worked
Wait,
out.
you lost the buyer when it caught fire?
Yeah, we lost the buyer.
Oh, wow.
Only because the buyer, he stuck it out for a while, but
He couldn't wait. He had to
just
wait.
like the renovations and stuff. You know,
Yeah.
that takes a little while just because it's a fire. So it's a lot of people involved at that point.
Right.
You know, so
I think that's really an interesting point. And it kind of goes back to our other conversation about generational wealth and the benefits of real estate is that, like, even when disaster happens,
Right.
you still make money.
Exactly.
Yo,
but and that's the
You can
information
still
that
make
we
money.
don't
People
know.
need to know.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Like that's the information that we forget about. And that's the
it's
good
like
part about it.
insurance. Like, there's so many advantages to owning real estate. Like,
Exactly.
your house could burn down, and you could be
He
like,
made more money.
Right.
yeah,
And look,
whatever.
and the crazy thing about it is when that happened, he was moving, obviously, because he was selling the house. So
That's
it
the
wasn't
tough part.
even that much stuff in there. So he didn't really
Oh, he
lose
didn't
that
lose
much
stuff.
stuff. He lost like some stuff in his room, clothes and stuff like that. But as far as like, you know, furniture, TVs, and all that stuff, like he didn't lose a lot of stuff, but he was able to claim some things that he lost, able to, you know, obviously get the house fixed up, and we put it back on the market for more money. Being as though because the real estate market is insane in New Jersey.
So,
It's just insane in general right now.
yeah, New Jersey is nuts.
Oh, nauseating.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
I want to go to, like, you referenced, you know, we're talking about the black community. We're all scared
let's
to
go there.
say this. Like, we're always
No,
scared
but
to
this
say
is important.
black, right? We say the community or like minority.
Yeah.
No, we're talking about
The
black
black
people.
Yeah,
right?
community.
it depends who I'm talking to. So
Yeah.
if I'm talking
Yeah.
to black people, I don't gotta say
Yeah,
Black
we from the same
community,
community.
right.
You know what I mean?
It's understood.
scared-
But you saying for the viewers?
I don't know. Like, I don't know. At least me, I always feel, especially like doing this content, I'm like, I might disenfranchise. Like, because I have two things. I want to help working class people, right? Like,
Okay.
Every working class person.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you need to like quit your job and be an entrepreneur, but I think that it is helpful to have own something, have some kind
Multiple
of income,
yeah,
multiple
just the
streams
exposure
of income, right?
Yeah.
because your life will be a little bit better. You
Yeah,
know? And
no,
I think-
absolutely.
And I
The
actually
quality
think,
of
I'm
life will
inclined to agree.
definitely be
and I
better.
talk about, I talk to my friends about this. Like, I advocate for a lot of things that directly actually aren't beneficial to me. Like, you know, like, I don't know, taxes or whatever. Like, Trump didn't pay no taxes. And I'm trying to explain to people that's because tax laws slant it towards ownership.
Right.
And I want you guys to benefit from that at the same time because you're getting screwed right
That's
now.
a hard conversation to have
It's
whenever Trump is
complicated.
involved.
Yeah, I know.
Because,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
you know, I can say the same
Yeah,
thing,
Trump-
but and
Trump
it's
in
like,
general,
listen,
right,
I mean, these same
And
tax advantages are
Right.
But
It has
available
nothing
to
to do
everybody.
with
Right.
it.
It has
eliminate
nothing to do with it.
eliminate the Trump name, and it's like I posted the other day. It's
You
like
know.
there's tax laws. There's so many loopholes, and you.
But not if you get a W-2 and you're an employee. It's
Exactly.
hard.
Exactly.
It's hard to write off a lot of items that are going to offset that
Right.
income.
And
right.
so I'm always advocating for the average person because I think if we lived in a society where people were, because I feel like if you have no money, you're paycheck to paycheck, you're an angry person. Like,
Oh, yeah.
You encounter, like, the cashier messes up and they're screaming at you because they're upset.
Yeah.
That part.
Yeah,
you know what I
it's
mean?
true.
Like,
It's
but
very
I
true.
understand it. Like, you're frustrated. Like, you can barely
your
like
life.
feed your kids, so you're
Yeah.
on
You want a
edge.
job that you hate every day.
And I think that if people made, first of all, like, we got to fix like a bunch of government stuff. But besides that, like, if people had some money, you know,
Right.
like a little bit, like an extra income or whatever, they want to be so on edge. And so
Right.
I always advocate for that kind of stuff. And that's why we're doing this content. Maybe you have one rental property. Maybe you had a down payment for an investment property and you're able to generate $500 a month off
Right.
of that. That pays if your car breaks down.
Right.
That's when we were talking about the generational curses, though. People are more reluctant to do that because they have people in their ear like, no, you can't do that. Or no, that doesn't make any sense.
And
you know, we talked about this before and multiple times. So even though, you know, you want to put that information out there, it's always still the previous generations in their ear.
But it's about knowing risk and reward, right?
Yeah,
It's like it is a risky venture,
Right.
to go out of your comfort zone to put yourself out there and create a product or a service that you can back up to your name. And then what if it fails, right? Then you're your parent all over again, right? But not.
Well, at least I tried.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
No, right, absolutely.
Removed from that whole.
Exactly. You're
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and it comes back to what we was talking about earlier.
Right.
The lack of knowledge in the community. You know,
Yeah.
what I
But
mean?
it's not only lack of knowledge, it's lack of funds. Because if you don't
Capital.
have that,
you don't have the
capital-
money to be able
That
to do
goes
it.
hand in
You do
hand.
have
right,
the
Exactly.
right, and it's
And
like I said, it's
you're still
outweighing the risk and rewards. Like,
Yep.
okay, you're gonna put yourself out there. Am I gonna lose this money?
And I'm
That's
already
a good
living check to
point.
check.
I read something that said that, like, especially black people are more concerned about losing money because you don't
have it
money.
to lose.
You're even
Yeah.
more scared
And
to
I'll
risk.
vouch for the
Yeah.
Latino community as
Yeah,
well.
same
Like
thing,
I feel the same way that a
Right.
lot of you know, you have
You don't want
first,
to take no risk. Like,
yeah,
Absolutely.
first generational. Like I'm first
my rent
generation
money.
immigrant. Like my parents are immigrants to this country.
From where?
Honduras.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm first generation. So it's like
That relationship with credit is
oh
something
yeah,
else, right?
the relationship with credit, the relationship with money, where like they came here to this country and they worked their butts off to get this money. And then my mom's biggest thing is like, I don't have much to offer you but an education. And
Okay.
people underestimate the value of an education. And I'm not talking about like
I
a
underestimate
formal
it too.
No, I'm not talking about a formal education.
I guess you agree with me.
No, I'm not talking about like a formal
Like college
education,
education.
like a college, because
Okay.
I think college is a scam. But that's
We'll go on.
another.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, it's a whole nother
Yeah.
conversation.
So
I think
that's part of my thing.
Well,
is
we can
like,
talk about that.
we
right
can
now.
talk about
we
that.
can, we
Yeah,
can dig into that.
yeah.
I do think that we're actually like poor and minority communities are behind on that because
Right.
now we're just getting into a position where we can go to college and all
Right.
this stuff.
Yo,
Right.
And so
seriously.
we're like 10 years behind, like
Right.
brokerages. So like now we want to send everybody to college and stuff. And
Right.
college,
It's not
But yeah,
always
that-
the answer.
College is dead though.
So-
Like, as far as
Always
like,
the freaking
I mean,
answer, bro.
and I
It's
can
dead.
only speak for like my algorithm or like my network of people. And
it
my
didn't serve
closest
them
friends.
well, right? Most
Like-
of your people of your generation got fucked by going to
like
college.
Let me
they
raise my
like
hand,
most of
like,
it no like
I'll
they
speak.
definitely
Yeah.
value the experience because like what do you get out of college? You
Fun.
meet people.
You get to network.
Right, you network.
That's the only-
because I say
Bro.
college is valuable, right?
if you do it
if
properly.
wasn't-
Correct.
But listen,
That's
if
it.
college wasn't valuable, wealthy people wouldn't send their kids there, right? So you have to figure out what
Why?
is valuable.
But
Right.
it's definitely
Why
not
are we doing
the
that?
But
education.
Exactly.
I would
No.
It's
say
all about
I mean,
networking,
come on.
bro.
All
It's-
Western education is skewed. I
Yeah.
mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like
That's facts.
we grew up celebrating certain things
right.
that we should have been embarrassed about. You know what I
Right.
mean?
No,
Like,
absolutely.
and that's
And
just
as an
that's
adult,
just the
you
truth.
see that. Right.
Yeah.
So,
That's true.
but at the same time, is like I don't even know where I was about to go. with that.
Nah, you
You take okay. So
I
for
lost my
example,
train of
I'm
thought.
taking managers writing for managers class.
What you going to school for, by the way?
Business management with a minor in HR.
Okay.
You can't. I mean, a business degree is actually useful. I have a bachelor's of business administration.
It can be
Look,
useful,
my face like
and
this,
I'm gonna tell you why. So
I'll tell you why too. After.
So again, I've been in the
I know a
banking.
couple people.
Yeah, I've been in the banking industry for like I said, well over 10 years, and I'm now a head teller. I have actual supervisor experience, and I send out emails on the daily. So I'm in this writing for managers class, and I'm like, I already learned this. I already do this. And I'm like, it almost seems pointless to be in this class for something that I already know. Same thing as last semester. I was in an organizational behavior class, and I'm like, okay,
Absolutely.
I already deal with organizational behavior. I know how this works. So now you're just giving me semantics. You're giving me like proper textbook definition of something that I've already been practicing for the last 10 years.
Right.
So it's like, what do I need? I've already invested. I'm already at this point
what am I actually learning?
But what am I actually learning?
Nothing.
And being only part-time in school, it's like I'm not getting that networking aspect. So absolutely, you can benefit from the networking aspect.
That's the most important.
You can do
the only thing you're going to
these
for.
What do they call them, like events or whatever,
Yeah.
where
That's the
you
whole
have
point.
like accounting events, or like so you can meet different corporations and stuff like that.
I mean,
so
Mentorship.
mentorship,
Yeah.
The networking is the whole bag.
or
Yeah.
internships,
Yeah.
right? But like it all comes down to, okay, but I've already learned this, and it's like, you can't use life credit. Like, can I replace this? Can I replace life credit for
That's a
this? Because
gem.
like I already,
That's a gem.
it's like I already learned this, and I'm like, what am I really learning
Life
from
is
this
the best
class?
teacher.
I'm not right.
It-
Life is
it's the
absolutely the
only
best.
experience.
Listen, I went to
The only
college for
experience.
a couple semesters.
Right.
And then I had my own place when I was 19.
Okay.
So I learned a lot of things that I didn't learn in high school.
I learned real quick at 25 financial education. I learned real quick the importance of credit, and this is at 25, guys.
That's what I was talking about
At
last week.
25.
That's the big problem.
25.
I was 19 when I
About 25
started.
years old when I cared about my credit.
Right. I started 19 my banking career, and at 19 I was a part-time teller, and I didn't think that this was going to be any big thing. I thought that I was going to be some sort of actress on Broadway, because
I really learned what credit was when I was 19.
Right. So it's
First
not
time I learned what
until
credit
you
was.
again you start life and you start learning life, because I honestly in my teens, me and you experienced teens together, Taco Bell
we
days,
sure did.
right?
Yeah, dancing on cars and-
Shut up.
Look at us now.
I don't talk about that
Edit-
part of my
edit that
life. Okay, I don't talk about
Now we
that.
on the podcast.
I don't
Sorry.
talk about that part of my life. Okay, the Taco Bell days.
So you can't edit that like a pic, right?
Now we're gonna leave that
Blowing
right
out.
there. Let the
I have
people know
full
wait
edit
in.
control.
No, but
But we was
seriously.
getting, like, I wasn't worried. I thought my little $500 paycheck was a little
We
something,
didn't know
something. We didn't
anything.
know any better, and I was just swiping my credit card, and it wasn't
just
until
going.
I was 25, and I really
Yeah.
learned the value and importance of a financial education,
Eh.
B, the importance of credit, and I don't think people realize the real impact that credit does, because this country, unfortunately, runs on credit.
all of that.
That's your main source of
Yeah.
whatever. They assign you this number based on this algorithm
Right.
that God knows
How they come
who
up
knows
with
how
it
it
or why
functions.
they came up
I
with
got
it.
somebody asking me in my office the other day, so what is this credit again?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I'm gonna be real honest with you. It's like Houdini. I don't know. It's a special algorithm that
not
they
And
listen. But to a 19-year-old, to a 20-year-old, how do you explain
Yeah.
credit? And you've been knowing about it for the last 10
Yeah,
years.
but honestly, it goes back to like the generational thing, and our
Right.
parents just trying to do the best that they possibly could do
Exactly.
to educate us in that area. Because
Right.
for the longest time, I'm not even gonna lie, I'm sorry, mom and dad, I had some resentment towards my parents because I was just like, bro, I'm out here, I'm just trying to figure this out. Y'all didn't teach me anything.
Exactly.
I'm lost out
But
here in
it's
the sauce.
it
You know?
comes back down to is they did the best they
They
could
could,
with
and
the information that they had.
They didn't have it.
They
That's
didn't
what it
grow
always
up on
comes
Google.
down.
They
But
didn't
But that's
grow
a
up
part
on
of the
Google.
growth process, right?
Right.
Like when you're discovering yourself as a
Right.
young adult, like we're
Right.
always gonna have those resentments to our parents
Correct.
until we see the full picture because you're
Right.
mad. Like, why didn't you teach me this? And
Yeah.
then you're like, oh, okay,
But
it was
it's
help
like-
from
you
you.
didn't even have that.
You didn't know.
It's
Oh,
like you did the,
Right.
that's what you
now
did.
you're going
They
back.
didn't-
Oh, all right,
Correct.
exactly.
Now it's up to
It's all a
us
part of the
to
growth
create that
process.
for the
Exactly.
future
And so
generation.
now you
Yeah.
know going
Correct.
forward,
So my
this is how I
kids-
plan to educate my child. This is how I
Right.
plan to
Exactly.
educate my community because, like, it takes a village, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, it takes
Right.
a village. Like, who are you without your support group? And who are you with your immediate network, without your immediate network of people,
Exactly.
right? Whether
Yep.
they're friendly or not, right? But it's our job to share that wealth and share
That
that
information.
information. And, 9 times out of 10, yeah, it is on Google, but
But Google's tough. Like
It is.
Google's
be
tough.
saying some bullshit.
And you
Well,
gotta
and
go
you know
on
when you
that.
go on
No,
Google
you
now,
wanna
the
learn
first
this
4
stuff.
things is ads now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
First
facts.
four.
That
You gotta
too.
go down.
You click on that.
Alright.
You want to.
Yeah.
No, honestly, my favorite website, and I'm not. This is not sponsored by any way, but
The disclaimer though. All right.
disclaimer.
We're going to get
Okay.
Yeah, is Bankrate. I love Bankrate.
Yeah, Bankrate.
It really kind of gives
Yeah.
it into you in language that you
That you can understand.
That you can
The
understand.
jargon, 'cause some of the- some of the
yeah,
websites
like
you like,
jargon, like
what are
right.
they
It's
talking
like
about?
what? That's income. I don't get that, and I'm
Nah,
like,
you
you
got a
don't
good
get.
video on that thing.
You don't
Oh
get.
yes.
you
By the
don't-
way, if you guys want to check out the debt to income ratio.
No, for real, yeah.
No, right.
Hold on.
That's a good video.
All right, wait, hold on.
Edit
Hold on.
and scene. Are we still?
What were we
what are
talking
doing?
about?
Or-
Oh, we were talking about generational wealth.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and
yeah.
passing that
The
information
disparity.
down.
Yeah.
The disparity,
And that was,
yeah.
Oh,
and that
I
was
had
one of the
something.
reasons why we started that group. When I was telling,
Oh, yeah,
before
let's
the camera
talk
shut
about
off.
that.
Yeah, Antoine Nelson. Yeah, he, me and him, like that was before COVID had hit. Me and him were like really, we were just clicking.
So
Like,
just to preface this, Anthony created a men's group where they get together and talk.
yeah,
Talk about
so,
more like what you talk about and all that stuff. Like,
yeah, so it's not focused on one thing, but it is like a men's empowerment group. Antoine Nelson.
I think that's important.
That's
and,
super important.
Jordan Raynard, a couple other people. We all, pretty much got together and just felt like it was something that men really needed, like an outlet, not to talk about like just business or real estate.
What
'cause-
sparked that? Well, like, why were you like, yo, we need a safe space or like just a space to talk about men issues? And,
Right.
Like, what
I
made
mean,
you,
it's
like,
just
feel
like how
this is needed?
you're misunderstood, right?
Yeah.
Are you? Or do you have like trauma, or do you have things that you have on your mind that you feel like people on Facebook aren't gonna get, or they're gonna take the wrong way,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And this is a situation. And
Different
this is
perspective.
yeah, this is a group
Yeah.
where we don't have the cameras on. Like we might take pics for like promotional or marketing just so we can get other men to come, but like
Right.
it's not something that you got to worry about like your wife seeing or your girl or like somebody on Facebook. It's
You could just
really
vent and talk
Yeah.
about
Talk
what
about
you
what you're
really
comfortable-
feel, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's
Not that pressure.
That's therapy, basically.
I mean,
That's exactly
free,
what
free
it is.
therapy.
yeah.
It's exactly what it is. But how many groups are available like that to men?
None.
Right?
I mean, none that we're
Not only do we talk about
Men
none
are
that
not,
we're-
value, like
none that we're aware of.
men issues. Like I get it because women issues are definitely more like.
But I ain't even gonna hold you. We barely have those
underappreciated.
though, as women.
What groups?
That you can really
Or issues.
authentically be
I
yourself.
think that's a really good idea.
Like as far as women, like you could just go somewhere and
For
feel
men
like
and
nobody
women.
is judging you. Like I haven't come across.
So I go to
Really?
therapy.
Therapy.
So my
I
therapist
see them,
doesn't judge
but
me.
now
no, and don't get me wrong. I'm
Yeah.
not saying everything that comes across line as like an empowerment group is that.
it's really
No.
empowering.
But
I
you
don't
that's the
see
problem
them.
I've been
I don't
running
see
into.
them for men at all. You
Yeah.
know, and I felt like
It's
that
that
was.
mean girl thing
You
that
know,
be going
no,
on.
you
And
know what
behind
it
the
is.
scenes,
It's
no,
No, I don't think that exists
it's
anywhere
the-
because men
it's
don't
the
wanna talk
stigma.
about
Well, I know with the
their-
guys, yeah, that's
No,
don't wanna
it's
talk about real
it's the
stuff
stigma. It's the
Right.
stigma.
Wow.
Well, where okay, so you're creating this group for
Mm-hmm.
based on genders or whatever to talk about mental health issues or other issues
Problems,
that you
just
have,
life.
right? Just life, and
Yeah.
and there's this almost this stigma to it where okay, why do you need this? Why do you need the support group? Like, why do you need
That's
to
the
talk
worst
about
thing.
this? Why are you feeling this way? And it's like, well, I mean, look around.
Everybody
This is-
has mental health.
Every single person
like
walking this
it's
earth.
it's not that you're crazy. Like people feel
No, you don't-
anxiety, and I'm
God
not saying like
forbid, you
clinical
express that.
anxiety, but like when I go on showings with people I don't know,
That's
I feel like
that's a good.
Right.
mad
Oh my
anxious.
God!
Right.
When you posted that the other day about the showings.
I try to share that because like people don't say stuff like that.
It's so weird though, because I'm like, why do I have anxiety? Like, why?
Yeah, why am I
Like,
anxious
yeah,
about
like,
going
what-
out
what
to
is the
look at a
purpose?
house?
Correct.
So
Had to,
I
like,
think,
really check myself
so
about it.
honestly, I think it's a generational thing. I really honestly think it's a generational thing.
Yeah?
Like
Potentially.
Explain.
yeah. So I mean, look at what we've grown up with, right? Because we're all the same, like, generally the same age group, right?
Yeah.
26 to
We're in the same generation.
35.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all there.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, so we grew up in the age of technology. We watched Google. We watched everything grow, right? So that's one aspect. We lived through 9/11. We lived through COVID. We lived through Y2K. Like, we live through so many things, and it's like you have generalized anxiety from watching life change at the drop of a hat. And if your parents are anything like my parents, they don't believe in anxiety. They don't believe in depression. They believe in religion fixing your
Oh
anxiety and
God!
depression.
Please drop that gem because that
they
is
believe-
very
they're
accurate.
like I told my mom that in the
Yeah.
beginning of COVID, and I'm being 100% transparent. I went through a really bad depression, because
Me too.
everything was locked down, and I felt like I had.
Did you live by
nobody.
yourself?
I do live by myself.
So
That actually
I live
contributes
by
to-
myself.
I live by myself with
too.
just the 2 dogs.
And he
Yeah,
got
so
the
we're
3.
very
Yeah.
similar.
Yeah.
I was having a hard time. I'm
I
not
had
gonna
a
lie.
very-
Yeah.
I was
It
having
not
a hard
good.
time.
I think we all are.
I had a very
Yeah.
difficult time to the point where I was a very, very low place, and like intrusive thoughts, and you're like, is the other side gonna be better type shit. Yeah. So
I mean, it gets
I
real
feel-
like
I
that.
understand.
It gets real.
So it gets real,
Yeah.
and it's like you feel like you don't. At the beginning of this, you felt like you were really alone. I didn't want to go around my family. I didn't want to go around my
with that energy.
siblings. Like,
Yeah.
among other things, like you didn't realize, like I have an autoimmune disorder, and I didn't realize,
Right, that's
like
the-
Yeah.
that's like a big factor where
Yeah.
it's like okay, so let's say this thing is fake, right? Like I couldn't take that risk. I couldn't
Right.
be around my family where possibility of contracting this and putting myself at risk. So I was to and from work, and literally that's it.
Yeah, that's
And
tough.
going to the grocery store. You're
tough.
literally by yourself, and it doesn't help that you live alone. Like, and
That-
people
yo,
don't,
that's-
Yeah.
and
that's
people
mad hard.
Honestly.
don't, and people don't understand that,
Yeah,
and
they
people
don't.
don't
Yeah.
understand anxiety and depression in the way that when you experience anxiety and depression.
Correct.
It's like, well, Ada, you're not alone. I'm like, I
But
know
that's
that
how
you
I
guys are
just
here, but like,
I feel like that. When I go
feel-
home at night and I lay my head on my pillow,
Right.
this is how I feel.
this is how I feel. And they're
Correct.
like, well,
I'll
you
tell
have
you.
you
Yeah.
have a friend, you have a system.
And nobody
My
understands,
mom's
bro.
like, oh, well, have you tried
find comfort in
prayer?
them scriptures.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
that's true
well,
too.
I'm like, Mom, I
just saying.
have tried prayer, but I don't feel like that's helping
prayer,
me.
the scriptures.
So
Gotta read the words
I'm
of
like,
God.
I'm expressing this to my mom, thinking like, Mom, I love you. I'm expressing this to my mom, thinking that she's gonna help, and she doesn't understand
No
anxiety
help.
and depression.
No help.
Yeah, she's not equipped.
She's
with
not
the tools.
equipped because they're as equipped as
As
their
what?
their generation.
That goes back to my resentment.
Right.
You feel
Right.
me? Like,
Exactly, yeah.
that's how it's
Right.
because I expressed this to my parents, my
Right.
mom. They don't have
Right,
a
they don't
clue.
no, they
But
don't
that's a
understand.
good conversation. I had that conversation
With
with
your
my
parents?
mom.
Yeah.
That's a good combo to have.
Yeah.
So-
I had the conversation.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're on to something.
I'm like, go ahead. Go ahead. No, you're good. Yeah, you had that
that.
combo with your
Oh
mom.
no, yeah. Like I had to have that conversation with my mom. Like,
And how was your mom receiving that?
Like, what did you
conversation?
say?
Coming to her,
Like,
was she
hey, why didn't you
defensive?
teach me
Yeah,
about-
correct. Like,
it was a step-by-step process because it kind of started when my daughter was born, and
Okay.
it was more so like, okay, like she's gonna have a million questions and I don't know the answers.
Right.
Right,
Yeah,
that's the
how about
scariest
that?
part
Right.
I
about
don't know what to tell them, right?
Right.
Right.
It's crazy.
because it's like, and look at the time we live in, right?
Right.
There's a lot of things that are coming out that are lies.
How do you
Right.
explain things anyway? Like,
Yeah,
Right.
how do you explain
Right.
that?
don't
So
even-
so for me, I was like, man, like I can't. If I don't know who I am, or if I don't know these answers, how am I going to raise
my daughter,
children?
yo,
Like,
That's crazy.
that was the scariest thing for me.
Yeah.
Right.
But
It wasn't
you're-
about money or
you're winging it.
None of that. Like I don't care about. for me, it was about like I was scared of that, so
Right.
I had to start like trying to figure out like those things. I had to have tough conversations with my parents, you know, and like, you know, my father, he was away for a while, like he was in prison for most of my life. So now he's home. We have a great relationship. Like he has a great relationship with he was just at my house yesterday. He has a great relationship with my daughter. Like she doesn't know life without having him. Right. So like that's the difference that you have to pay attention to. Yeah. Like that is crazy to me that I think about that. Like I grew up without him, but that's all she doesn't know life without him.
Yep. Right.
So
So Bill Burr was talking about parenting, and he was talking about how each generation just does a little bit better than the next.
Right.
Like, so, you know, he said that his grandfather rarely talked to his dad and used to, like, beat him with sticks and stuff.
Right.
So his dad taught them sometimes and would beat him with a belt. And, like, now he's a dad, and he's trying to figure out how he wants to raise his kids. And I think that's a good microcosm, guys, what you're talking about. Cause,
right.
I mean, even though, you know, it's something like he's talking about whoopings because, he's telling jokes. Financial literacy is like that, too.
Right.
And so is generational wealth. And each generation has a responsibility to do a little bit better
than the prior generation.
Than the previous generation because, you know, it's very rare, right? And every once in a while, there's a circumstance where somebody figures some stuff out and makes a big leap for their family.
Right,
which is something that me and Ryan talk about all the time. Like,
somebody has to put it all on the line.
Yeah,
they
make a big foundational leap. And a lot of times, even when they do that financially, they'll be missing out some of the other parts. So, I mean, like, that's just how it goes. But in a lot of ways, we're at a point where there's so much, like you were talking about, there's been so many changes in the last 20 years. Like, if you look at how all of us went through school,
right?
And the fact that now we have computers. Remember, the teachers used to tell you like, you're not going to have a calculator.
Yeah, you're not going to have a calculator. But now you literally have a whole computer in your pocket.
Yes,
absolutely.
So there's so many changes that we've gone through in this past generation that we have to we're all adjusting, and there's been these like really big leaps in terms of how we view life, how we view what's important. Like you guys were talking about college before, like that, you know, kind of out the window now. What do you memorize stuff?
My wife is pretty much like, if I have $100K, I'm not paying for our daughter to go to college. Like, I'm going to buy her investment properties.
I mean,
right?
Dog,
like,
seriously.
But that's a question that, imagine if that came up with our parents, right?
Right. They're like no,
they
have to go to college.
Right.
But listen, though, the crazy thing, right? I didn't go to college. She went to college.
Right.
She went to college, graduated college, right? Works in her field, all that. And she still has that mindset, right? That's telling to me, like, that where's society going? Right, when people are out here going into debt immediately after they leave high school, after they can't even drink yet, and they have $100K in debt,
and
at 18, I don't think you're equipped to
even understand
the impact of signing
on
that
your life,
signing that promissory note.
And then when you get to college, you learn about credit cards. Right?
My unpopular opinion is that you should know by like 16. Like, you're an adult.
You should, but
so
based on this conversation,
the reality.
No, we gotta be more drastic than 16 though. Being black,
the reality of the situation. Absolutely,
my daughter will know about investing
10
and real estate before she knows all the states in America, because that's more important.
Yes.
Facts.
That's more important.
People don't actually. This is like a whole America thing. Like,
right. America
people
thing.
helicopter
Absolutely.
parent their kids, so they're scared for them to go to the park when it's down the street. But also, people underestimate what kids can understand
at such a young age.
Like my stepdaughter, I explained her credit in a very basic way. I was like, look,
they're not corrupt.
Yeah, they can.
They
are
not correct from the system.
They're not.
So
corrupt.
Right then and
she's
there,
like 8 years old.
They know what's most
impressionable. I'm like, look, credit means like, do I trust you if I give you money to pay me back?
Right.
And I asked her when she was 12, and she actually had a good answer to what credit is.
Right.
That's what's up.
So like.
Yeah.
People think that kids can't understand. Like,
they can.
Credit is not like some impossible thing to
If a
understand.
2-year-old can pick up an iPad, and
If a 2-year-old can pick up an iPad, know how to touch things and pull up YouTube.
iPhone came out when I was in high school.
Yeah.
My daughter is 2.
And she can navigate the mess out of it.
She can navigate a tablet.
Exactly.
You know
they
what?
are
Think
super
about that for a
smart.
second,
They're like
right?
a sponge.
If a 2-year-old can pick up a tablet, so can a 50-year-old.
Now,
So
for
talk
me-
to your
for
kids about this shit. Like,
Yes.
Now you got to think like, wow, are we as smart as we think we are?
I think
My daughter knows about that at 2, right? I learned about how to navigate a phone when I was in high school.
15.
You know what I mean?
Right.
15,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Like
A
if she
real
picking this up
iPhone
at 2,
at
then
2.
yeah.
It's like
But that-
language. You can learn
multiple languages
multiple
at
languages.
such a young age
Exactly.
because, like, right. It's
You
different-
actually learn better as a kid.
no,
And listen,
absolutely, yeah.
Just to switch it back to real estate, like that was why that was the most important thing to me. Like my why, like just because like she doesn't go to, even though daycares are open, I'm at home. My wife is
Why
at
does
home.
she not
Why?
go?
Why
Yeah.
even?
I have to
Why
go
even
to
spend
that.
that money?
Influence.
Right.
And that's the
Come
thing
from
is
you
like
guys.
I can teach her what, because all that other stuff she can learn that when she's
Whenever.
like,
Right.
And
learn that whatever.
That's
like,
my biggest why, and that's why I be depressed, honestly. Because
society.
I
Just say it.
no.
Society, yeah, that part.
I design my
The
life.
norms of society.
Well, I design my life to be able to be there for my kids.
Right.
You know, like
Okay.
Okay, so you
got that
about to
going.
go into. All right, you getting deep. Go
There we
ahead.
go.
So,
I like
so
that.
I designed my whole life because, like, yo, you know what's funny? Like my grandfather, which is a whole nother conversation because I'm white and black and there's race issues, blah blah blah. My mom
Yeah.
got kicked out.
The
when
people
she was
that
16.
don't know, Ryan is 50% black and 50% white. He's not Indian.
Yes, I'm not Indian.
Everyone asks me that for whatever reason.
But you know, like my grandfather came to all my games and he came to most of my practices. And like that meant something to me as a kid.
Right.
Yeah, for real.
So like could you imagine like your parents not being there like,
Right.
for you know if they had to work the weekend or so. So I always thought like I really
the life,
want
though.
to
That was it.
And I just disagree with like how society is designed. So
Yeah.
I
Totally.
want to deprogram the thing.
But listen, that's why you're misunderstood.
I want to be present
Right.
in my kid's
His
life.
life.
Like, so
To be that influence.
So to go to being a little emo and depressed about shit is like,
He said emo.
yeah,
Yes,
no,
he
I'm mad.
definitely did.
I'm very emo. Like I've been listening to Juice WRLD like heavy.
So pause. He's gonna take a break. I got a pizza. It's okay. It's fine.
Let's
There
talk
we
about
go.
this. All right,
There
so
we go. The
So
inventory.
there's
talking about the real estate
pissed
market.
Inventory.
Anybody get me pissed?
So look, the real estate market is great for sellers,
Right.
and it makes
Only.
me want to quit real estate.
Forever. Unless
Tell
you
us
Why does it
why.
want
listings.
Tell
So
us
the reason
why.
why I want to quit real estate is because I work with a lot of buyers right now, and you put in offers, and recently I had an offer where they said they have an accepted offer, and then they have 15 backup offers.
bro.
1-5.
1-5.
And so if you're dealing
One.
with
That's
clients,
very normal now.
if you're dealing with clients, unfortunately, people think real estate people, which actually is true, are salespeople, and they're just trying to get you to buy a house. But
Well, at least not me.
what happens is I tell them, hey, you have to
I just
offer
be-
$20,000 over the list price if you want to have a chance at
they
getting
be
this
like,
house. And they're like, what kind of negotiator are you? Why can't you negotiate
but that's
the deal down?
reality of the situation. That's the
It
reality.
is if you got 25 million people putting in an offer on one property.
Exactly.
Why would yours
Yeah.
stand out if you
And
only
look,
offer
and that
two
brings
over
up the
list?
question is like, do you guys feel like, you know, buyers or your clients pretty much blame you for everything that
Yes,
goes on?
absolutely, 100%, 100%. Even if they
Josh.
don't, even if they don't
I triggered them.
say that, you know, I'm burnt, you know, like
So-
even if they don't say that,
Right.
I know deep down inside they're like, bro, what is she doing?
But are they wrong? Well, listen,
what
are
is
they
that?
wrong for
Okay,
blaming
wait.
us?
So
Are they
that
wrong for
goes-
blaming us?
No, so that
I
goes back to
mean,
what
no,
a
I
real
mean-
that goes back to what a real estate agent
That's
is,
our job,
right? No, but that
Yeah.
goes back to what a real estate agent
Right.
is. Like, who
Are
are
you?
you? What is
What's the
your role
expectation?
in this transaction?
Correct.
What is your expectation for me in this
To help
transaction?
Yeah, you're pretty much
right.
representing them.
You're the
Because,
face.
look,
You're the
Correct.
face, and you're the like
Exactly.
we both
Yeah, the
said.
liaison.
We're the
Exactly.
liaison. So sometimes you do have to step in and, like, you know, this is the reality of the situation, and you got to be real with your buyers and your sellers.
That goes
This
back to the
is-
relationship too,
Exactly.
and the people them trusting you, because even when
Exactly.
stuff goes all wrong, they're like, yo,
Right.
I'm still
Look,
rocking
yeah,
out
I'm
with you.
still
Because
rocking
it
out
happens.
with
when you get the deal
It
done,
happens.
they're gonna be happy. They're gonna be like, "Hey, listen, I appreciate you sticking it out with me. I know I'm tough to deal with." You know what I mean? So it's like that kind of comes with it.
But think about it. Think about it. If the shoe was on the other foot and you were the other person, what is your expectation for your real estate agent? Find me a house. I don't care what the market looks like. Exactly. And if need be, then I'll put in an offer.
And for me, I try not to get my emotions involved.
Exactly.
This is my that was my biggest thing.
But that's why I love you. Like, I feel like you're a great agent because you care so much.
Too much though,
you
right?
take it personally.
Too much. I'm in it like it's
you gotta balance.
It's you. But that's what
you gotta balance. But you should take it personally, but you gotta balance.
And that's the best. That's the biggest problem I've had.
Seriously, that's the best agent to have. That someone thinks it's you. Like they put themselves in your place.
Right.
Because some agents will be like, I'm not a party to the transaction.
Exactly.
To the point where I'm like involved in doing shit.
Just doing stuff. Yo, what is happening? Oh my God, we're not getting the house.
We're not getting that. But yo, your buyers want to hear that though.
Bro.
We are not. You know
I say we a lot.
Yes.
I say we a lot.
My first deal was one of my closest friends. You know what I mean?
So you going hard.
How'd that go for you?
Right. We ended up
we.
Yeah,
because
we was in it. We was in it together. And listen,
I love we.
And then
when you working with buyers, right? In COVID, in New Jersey, right. So that's a lot of stress. Yeah. Not only am I dealing with my own things going on at
personal,
right? I'm no longer working my part time.
Right.
My daughter's at home.
Right.
We're all in the crib now. Right. We're all at home together. Right, had to turn the guest room into an office. Had to redo the downstairs, make it to it's a lot of things that go into it. Meanwhile, we're dealing with somebody that's like, yo, like we lost out on the house, like we're losing out on the house. And don't get me wrong, like yo, like you would lose out on the house. Thinking, yo,
you know that.
Man, this deal, man, this offer is
it has you stressed out.
Lit. Yeah. This is a strong offer.
Listen,
I have 3 offers stronger than this.
Bro, I'm like, oh shit, like. Wait a minute, what happened? We got outbid. Oh, okay.
I'm talking about Rittenhouse.
Dog.
Oh, Rittenhouse.
It's so funny because me and Ada actually had clients that both saw that same property. He didn't want to put an offer in because he didn't.
The bathtub.
Ada didn't check the bathtub, bro. Because my client, he was like, Jessica, I am not putting an offer in this bullshit. I said, Ada, you check that tub. Ada was like, nah. You just recently saw the tub, right?
That tub was ugly as hell. I'm like, why did they think that this was appropriate? They just painted over it. And I'm like, why the hell?
It's a seller's market.
Someone
will buy it.
Someone
will
buy
it. So that's the thing.
And that's
what they count on.
We had to go into asking price, and the seller was looking for a conventional buyer, and it just so happened that my client was a
so my VA buyer wouldn't have had a chance anyway.
Your VA buyer wouldn't have, because they were looking for a conventional buyer. So
talking about with the nonsense. A veteran.
I think it's really fucked up that for some reason the VA loan is like looked down upon.
It's looked down upon.
0% down.
Yeah.
And
is that what it is?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I had what it is. I lost out on so many.
They're discriminating.
No, that is discriminating.
We might have to have a conversation off camera. Like,
no, it's discrimination.
Because I don't understand. Like, I put in all the offers. Like, I had somebody recently. They were military VA.
It's discrimination.
Put in so many offers. And I'm talking about
lost them all.
It's discrimination.
Listen, I had a conversation with a listing agent. We got an offer accepted.
Right.
But she told me, she said, I usually don't accept VA offers.
Why?
What is that?
She said that out of her mouth on the phone.
But
I'll accept you guys'. Because I guess the conventional people probably fell through. So now she's looking at us. I'm like, bro, why?
Do you want to give us some insight on that?
Yes,
please. That's somebody that sees it.
So here's what they're thinking, but it's wrong. The VA loan is 0% down.
0%.
Okay.
And so I think they have
the appraisal.
The appraiser has to be VA certified. So there's only certain appraisers that can do it.
Yeah, they say a handful in New Jersey.
It might take longer to get done. But it is the same thing as FHA. It is not any different than
But they don't like FHA either.
They don't like FHA either.
I understand that. Like, a conventional offer is better.
Yeah, okay.
But like, come
Tell
on,
us why
guys.
a conventional offer is better.
Or the people.
Thank you,
Yeah.
co-hosting over here, Ada Ramirez. A conventional offer is better because their appraisal. So an appraisal, people think is only the value of the house, but they
Okay.
also look at the property. So if you get an FHA or a VA appraisal, if you have chip paint or a lot of other common issues, they will make sure that it gets fixed. Like, so if your house was built after 1978, chip paint is a big deal. You have to have that all sealed and blah, blah, blah. So basically there's more repair requirements, but it's not that big a deal. Like, it's not worth $5,000 or $10,000 to take a conventional deal over a VA. Most VA people are actually pretty qualified. They just want to use 0%.
Their
There's
benefit.
0% down, right?
If I can use
the whole
this,
fucking
right?
point.
I can get conventional, but why
that's
would I
really what
do
it
that
is,
if I'm a
like-
veteran and I can qualify for VA?
So does that affect the earnest money?
I feel like me and my client, we've been going in with more in earnest
So-
money because
Yeah.
we need to be looked
feel
at
like
at least.
I feel like the information
as much as you can.
aspect, the information aspect is so like it's confusing to like buyers and sellers. So like they look at the earnest money deposit as something that it really isn't. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
the bigger it is, they're like, oh yeah, like he's
they're
putting
serious. They're
20,000
right.
Doesn't
down.
mean
It's like
anything,
Yeah.
okay,
That's but
It
here's
doesn't
the
mean a
thing.
thing- it
If the
doesn't
other so you have to deal with the listing agent. So like if you want your contract accepted, you want to make the situation as beneficial to them. So if they value a big down payment, shoot, make it-
Exactly.
if your client has 20,000,
when do you want to close?
even if your VA client has $20,000,
Right.
yo, if they know they want the house and like you have your contingencies, put $20,000 down as a deposit.
But
Yeah.
that also comes down to
They're
again
gonna get that money back.
risk. Not always.
They will get it back eventually. Like if there's a fight about the deposit, they will get it back.
But
Like,
it comes down to risk and reward, right? Are you really willing to risk that $20,000?
no, but it's not like so. We're in New Jersey, so
Yeah,
like, if you guys
I
are
was
in
about to
different
say
states
depends on the.
listening,
You
it's
got to make sure
different.
that contract is
Exactly.
You have a repair contingency and you have an inspection contingency. So if you have any issues, like you can bail out of the deal.
Right.
Now it might take you longer to get your escrow money back, but in this current market, whatever you have to do to convince the seller to take your deal, you kind of have to do it.
and realistically,
But
with
here's
that-
the crazy thing. Here's the crazy thing. I literally have been telling people, just wait. Like if
because it's hard to
unless-
justify it.
I can't justify it.
It's hard to justify it.
Unless you're renting a
Buying
house.
in New Jersey right now in certain
it's bad.
areas
It's
is
tough.
very,
Don't do
very
it.
hard to
The
justify.
Because I'm looking for myself,
Unless
and I'm
they
just like,
really
I'm
need
waiting.
it.
It's not good.
I'm waiting.
You
2
know?
years.
but I don't got no choice. I have to find something within the next
You have
amount
to
of time.
find
If
I do.
So thank you guys for watching. If you got to the end of this, you're a real one. Like
You definitely are.
I'm still trying to figure out the audience and who the people are and what your feedback is. So I really appreciate if you put it in the comments what you guys think
Drop a
about this
comment.
episode. Yes, definitely
Yeah.
drop a comment.
What do you
Comment
guys
shit.
want us to discuss? Do you like the personal aspect that we add into the podcast? Let us know, please.
Yeah, that's the big debate that's going on.
Comment,
Like,
share, and
should-
subscribe.
All of that.
Should we talk about
Yeah.
only real estate, or do you mind like us going into these other issues? So let me know. Drop a comment, like, subscribe, all that stuff, and yeah, definitely let me know how you feel about it. That's it.